This is the CHRILLCAST. I am Chris. I have two amazing guests here today to fill in for Will and Andrew, especially since we're talking about something they know nothing about. Yes, I'm talking about you too, Andrew. I know you had a Vita, but you don't have one now. So you clearly don't know enough about it. All right. So who do I have here to my this way, that direction? Nope, that direction.
Yeah, that's how it works. Uh-oh.
Who do we got here?
Oh, hold on. Well, you pointed to him.
You're pointing to me, right?
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to make sure. I was like, hold on. Am I taking crazy pills here? Did you think you were pointing at me?
I was pointing at Steve Downs. He's somewhere else in this chat. No, I'm just kidding. All right, go ahead. What about you, Mister?
It's me. It's Jordan. I am I'm the puncher of pies. The PunchNpie.
Not like
it's always weird. It's always weird using my channel name as like the declaration of who I am. I don't think what you're supposed to do, but it always.
Has anyone ever said how easy you would be able to transition into not safe for work content with a name like that?
So easily. People always assumed that right off the start the name was not safe for work, and South Park's not safe for work either.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he just goes into and he just covers like different pies and punching them. Like that's the whole channel now.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Just this week the pie changes. Who knows who might be the next pie.
So Spencer, why are you the Squid Kid this week? Did you get Splatoon 3?
Oh, I didn't just get Splatoon 3. I'm living Splatoon 3 right now. I've assimilated into I don't even know what a PlayStation Vita is anymore. Here, you probably hate this Switch, Chris, of just how not all black it is. And then here, just to really grudge you, the back of the Joy-Cons are white, just to make no sense.
That doesn't make any sense. That's nonsense.
I love it. It's the most beautiful Switch I've ever seen.
It's a treat. I'll tell you what. I've gone full sellout mode on Nintendo Switch because of Splatoon 3. When I'm a grown man and I'm asking someone at Target, where are my Splatoon 3 branded sunglasses? That's how you know I've really become a broken sellout of a man.
That's amazing. Well, while we're on this subject, since I always forget to do this, I'm going to quickly tweet that we're on doing this.
I was literally just looking for the tweet as you started. You were like your trigger finger was itching.
I'm working on it.
Can you at me in this tweet?
I will. I will at both of you in the tweet.
Even though I'm totally shadow banned on Twitter.
Are you?
Oh, I love a good shadow ban. I feel like it makes you have to work harder for it though.
Yeah.
You're going to make me work harder for it? Oh no. Well, I guess I'm not going to work hard at all then.
So one of my people's here, Kayla, Miss Cacklin there in the chat. How are you? It's been so long. I haven't seen her since probably last time I streamed, which God knows how long ago that was. Yeah.
That's so funny you said Kayla because for a second all I saw was Killa Mo's comment, and I'm like, that's an interesting way to pronounce Killa. Kayla Mo. Yeah, Kayla Mo in the chat. We got both Kayla and Killa.
So I actually, you know who was potentially coming on tonight, but it turned out that they are too busy tonight. Was PS Vita at 2 a.m. So I'm working on getting him on in the future.
Oh my god! Video. You know what's funny? I've been subscribed to that guy for the longest time, and I'm going to be completely honest with you because I doubt he'll ever see this. I've constantly.
No, he says he's going to watch it.
Oh, I doubt it. But if he does, please feel free to reach out to me. I have always thought to myself, like, I don't know why I'm subscribed to that guy because it's really interesting to me of like, obviously it's PlayStation Vita related, but it is that channel of like, I've never gone to that place for the news just because it's usually one of those things of like, I'm so far at Vita's butt that I know it all. And especially now, cause like pretty much like, and it's nothing against their channel, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I wonder what video we must have made. Cause like, I'm pretty picky with what I'll subscribe to of like what I have on my feed and stuff with it. But I need to like go back and think about it because it must've just been like something weird or whatever, but he's been in my subscription feed forever, but it's one of those funny ones of like, that's a weird channel where I don't know where that audience comes from because like I was subbed to him probably almost 3 or 4 years ago when he was averaging around like maybe a couple hundred to a few thousand like per video, which is pretty common for most Vita channels. And then just something along like 2019, 2020 just blew up his channel. And it's been so funny to me because like he's just been doing the same kind of videos. It's not like he changed and jumped over to like,
his format is relatively simple and pretty streamlined. Like whatever he's doing is working. Why would you change it though? Like,
no, exactly. It's one of those. You know what I bet it almost is. It's almost like it's really an anomaly channel to me. Like I follow it just to be like, what's happening? Like because like there have been a couple other very specific Vita channels that have pivoted. Like I don't know if anyone else would remember. A big one was, I think it might have just been like it was some guy in the UK. I used to remember his name, but he had like specific like I'll do here's this week's Vita weekly update. Not Blue Maxima, but it was a guy who would basically just go through the store and tell you every new game that week. And he did that with the 3DS and then the Vita. That was the one that stuck.
Oh, and as he said the word
Switch
stuck,
for a little bit. Days where a lot of Vita
stuck.
YouTubers went over to Switch was really funny to me.
Well, there was a
but yeah,
an actual
so
Vita
for the most part, yeah.
I think I'm one of those.
There was a.
Are you a Vita boy?
Yeah. I mean, look I love the Vita. I still love the Vita.
He's the one that compared the Vita to the Switch like 8 years after it came out. I'm like,
no,
dude.
I'm sorry. I mean, like from the YouTube channel.
There was a YouTube channel called Vita Boys a long time ago.
Because I've always thought of them for one thing. I've only ever wondered one thing about the Vita Boys. Who made that channel theme song? Because that song is so overly good. If anyone's not heard it, just look up the Vita Boys on YouTube. And it's just like, it's just such a wet, sick, nasty song, but it fits perfectly.
I'm not going to play it right now. I'm going to definitely.
I feel like they trade like some of them transitioned into Joy-Con Boys or whatever it was that came out after them.
Oh, that definitely was not them.
No.
Okay.
All right, so here's a question for you, for both of you guys. What PS Vita, or rather, let's start with the beginning here. How did you first find out about the PS Vita? Because I never found out through actual official marketing. Like that was never how I found out about the Vita.
I guess I'll go first then because Spencer's been talking so much here and I feel like I've been so quiet. But boy, oh boy, my Vita journey. It's a journey, man. It's a journey, right? Like the Vita journey. So I was there since the beginning when it was the Sony NGP, the next generation portable, when it was announced. And I was like, and they showed off, I think they showed Uncharted on that initial like reveal. And once I saw that, I'm like, I'm sold. I got to get this thing. And then they did another Sony presentation on it, and they renamed it the Vita. Went to the midnight release for it at GameStop. You know, that just says something because I never openly admit to ever going in that store. And and then I drank the Kool-Aid. I believed in that system when everyone was like complaining about memory cards. I was like, no, whatever, I'll pay it. I don't care. So I'm like, physical media doesn't matter. I'm like, you know, I'm gonna buy every single game I can. And I don't have the most massive physical collection for Vita, you know, maybe like 60 or 70 games. Because I know there's people that have like, okay, what are we look? Oh boy.
Spencer has most of the limited run games, if not all of them.
Oh, it's all of them, baby.
Well, yeah. So I only have a couple of those. I couldn't even get into that, unfortunately, but
your wallet will thank you then.
Yeah, I know. So, but no, I've been a fan since the beginning, and it's really strange how so many people just never knew about it. You know, even when you look at Facebook Marketplace, it's like I have a PSP Vita. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? PSP Vita.
I love that. When around here, literally on Facebook Marketplace, I'll have people just throw up Vitas under PSP.
Yeah, right. They do. Yeah. So you were right at the beginning. You followed it right from the NGP. I remember NGP being announced because it was close to the same time as the PSP Go. I do remember that.
It was at least a year after the PSP Go because NGP.
Okay, well then I found out about the PSP Go around the same time that I found out about the NGP.
I followed PSP Go really early just because there was that interesting middle ground of when we weren't sure if they were going to do physical to digital redemption.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember like following that, and they did the same thing with Vita of like, all right, PSP Go, you look cool, but if I can't play any of my games on you, I'm not going to rebuy everything. But
right, exactly.
Yeah, so that was definitely around that same era. But it was funny because like people talk about how quickly Sony kills things. Like that was a speed run for killing something. Was
not as fast as the PS TV.
No, well, Japan technically outstayed that one just because of like that was so relevant for so many years over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got mine. Mine's still hooked up. I use it from time to time just to play things on my TV that's not supposed to be able to be played on my TV.
Listen, I played through probably 50 hours of Persona 5 with remote play for my PS4.
Oh yeah,
my
me
PS
too.
TV.
No, not on my PS TV. On my Vita. I finished.
Oh,
I did like 200 hours of Royal on my Vita.
Nice.
And I did all of 13 Sentinels. I get Aegis Rim on my Vita actually. We'll get into remote play later. That feature's amazing.
Yeah. So isn't it funny though? Like on a handheld when you're playing a JRPG, it's so much easier to grind than sitting like in front of your big TV on the couch. Because it's like I feel like you just fall asleep so much easier on the couch playing than like in bed. If I'm playing a video game, I'll never fall asleep. On the couch, I'm out cold in 45 minutes. Like,
well, I sit in the lazy boy and I start rocking a little bit because it's just a natural tendency, and all of a sudden I rock myself to sleep when I'm watching them.
Chris, I can see you as that open mouth, neck agaped person who just sleep like.
Sometimes that's definitely happened once or twice. There was one time I was like falling asleep playing I think The Witcher 2, which is hard to do because The Witcher 2 is pretty exciting. But I was in this part where I had to just talk to a bunch of people, and my wife walks in like 2 hours later. She's like, "Are you ever coming to bed?" It's like, whoa, what? I'm awake.
I almost had to like remind myself you weren't joking when you said The Witcher 2 is pretty exciting. Of like, The Witcher is exciting in terms of like a fantasy RPG. Witcher 2 is still in that era of like really clunky ass PC European RPGs.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Witcher 2 though on the Xbox 360 actually plays pretty well.
Only console port of it. That's always the crazy part. I always
forget. Well, The Witcher 1. The Witcher 1 was supposed to be a console port. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
It got canceled because the company that was doing it spent all of CD Projekt Red money on like the first 30% of the game.
It's a good thing that company never got into any other trouble.
Yeah, sure. Exactly.
You know what's shocking? I've never played a Witcher game.
Honestly, it's one of those funny ones of like, if you follow it from 1 to 3, it's incredibly rewarding, but you can really just skip to 3.
That's what, I literally was about to download it on my Steam Deck because I have it in my library. So I'm like, you know what? If I play a game like this, I might as well play it like in my hands like that. God, that sounded dirty.
I have The Witcher 3 on, I think, 3 consoles now at this point.
Good for you.
I've played it on the Switch and the Steam Deck, and I have it on the PS4. So I'm actually going to do a video comparing PS Vita remote play with the Steam Deck and with the Switch just to see which one looks the best.
Right on.
Did you guys follow the weird fact that the PS5 and Series X version of Witcher 3 remastered got delayed / canceled because of the Russia and Ukraine war?
Really?
Yeah, so the studio Saber Interactive, who ported the Switch version, was in charge of the remaster. And basically, due to the ongoing situation over there, whether it be because of the Russian ties of where the studio's at or other reasons, CD Projekt Red basically told them to stop working on it, and they are finishing it internally at CDPR.
That's interesting. Because Saber Interactive is actually part of...
So it was supposedly originally last year...
Isn't Saber Interactive part of Embracer Group now? I'm pretty positive.
Yeah, they got bought by them a few years ago.
Embracer Group is terrifying. At the same time,
so
they're great,
big.
But they are absorbing every single company out there. Because
I can't wait for the CHRILLCAST to get embraced. Just so Chris can finally be part of the Lord of the Rings universe.
Is that insane? Like not so. THQ Nordic basically goes and buys up all these studios, right? And then Embracer Group comes in and buys THQ Nordic. Is that the correct path?
I thought Embracer Group is THQ Nordic.
It gets confusing a lot, but I am a effing big old dum-dum, and I know all these things because they are weirdly different. So, at the moment, THQ, which was bought by Koch Media, which is now called PlayOn with an I in there.
Okay.
PlayOn is all of them are all owned by the same company, the Embracer Group, but they are separate companies. So it's not like THQ is just in charge of everything. So the PlayOn side, which is Deep Silver, Koch Media, THQ, all those things, that's one company who does everything. But like the people who are in charge of like SpongeBob and Saints Row, they don't do any of the stuff that Embracer is like Asper Media and Saber, similar, like, because they own Gearbox as well. None of those companies interact with each other at all. They're just owned by the same parent company.
You got some fans here, Jordan.
Oh, what's going on here? Oh boy,
it's right on screen, right below you. Look.
Oh yeah, look at that.
You actually can't read it unless you do this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. It's down here. It's down here. You know what's funny? I started reading the comments, and it's a bunch of people actually from my community, and they're like, "Wait, why aren't we mods?" And they realize it's not my channel.
That's funny.
You've all been shadow banned.
Yeah, you're in a CHRILLCAST chat. You're all done. No,
yeah, that's so funny. I mean, I appreciate you guys being here. This is awesome. Abby's here. Hi, Abby. Abby's wonderful too.
So, Spencer, when did you learn about the?
Sorry.
Oh, it's don't worry. By the way, we probably should ask this beforehand. Is it easier for me to refer to you as just Punch? Do you want me to, like, what's easiest for you to go
I
by?
I don't care. You can call me. No, I won't say anything inappropriate. But
I just call him Jordan half the time.
My name's Jordan. Just call me Jordan.
We're a normal name trio over here, so that works out better anyway.
I guess I probably should have. Can I change my name while we're live?
I'll fix it for you. Give me 1 second.
Is that like maybe like do like Jordan dash PunchNpie?
Oh, I was thinking throw it in the middle, replace the N, just have
Punch in Jordan's pie. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Jordan's pie.
Here's the funny thing about the PSP Go is I never bought it. I don't mean physically.
How's
I never.
Does that work for you?
I like that. Yeah, that works. I never like believed in the product when it was actually out in the wild. I remember being at a GameStop, and this kid working there was like, "Yeah, man," he's like, "It's amazing." I'm like, "How is it amazing?" I'm like, "You can't like memory cards are so expensive for it." He's like,
"Oh yeah, it was a weird memory stick, wasn't it?"
It was a. I thought it was still the memory. Well, because
it was memory stick.
The memory stick Duo was proprietary media, but third-party companies made other ones, whereas no third-party company ever made one.
PSP Go had a smaller version of the mem stick.
Was it really? I thought it was.
Well, yes, there is a smaller version, but it's called
Memstick Micro.
Right.
It's called Memstick
Micro. So you
Micro.
couldn't just grab your PSP memory card and throw it in there and it'll work.
That was the big thing. Like, you could not pull the games out of your current PSP and plug it. I think it was because there was so much hacking already that Sony was like, change the memory card.
Yeah.
Just fix this, change the memory card.
But this guy's like, yeah, me and my 4 friends, we all just share one ID and we just buy our games together. I'm like, that just sounds like a pain in the ass. I don't want to do that. Like, because this was like 2009. Like, we want our physical media. It's like, I don't get it. The whole thing's stupid.
You might have somebody.
We weren't there yet. We just were not there yet. A little too forward thinking.
Never mind. They're gone. They were
I appreciate the.
Somebody snuck behind you.
Oh yeah, my wife is going over to play that new Disney game on Xbox.
I definitely thought that was a small son running behind you. I did not think that was your wife at all.
She was crawling. You could not see.
I thought you were a small boy, like a small child.
I didn't. That was
maybe like Spencer. A small elven, like a hobbit or like a willow type of sort.
No.
Like that.
No,
I Jordan, I knew it was your wife only because I've seen her on your streams before. Once or twice.
That's what, Jordan. That's when you're supposed to be concerned. Be like, why'd you recognize my wife crawling like that? What's going on over here?
I know.
No, I saw the blonde hair. I was pretty sure it was her. I just took a guess. It's all good.
That was actually a de-aged, shortened Val Kilmer. That's the blonde hair. You missed it.
Yeah.
But so I'll try and make mine really quick because I've just been.
Hey, look, just to confirm, here you go. Memstick Micro. That was the M2 cards.
But there were third-party ones. I had a SanDisk one. I don't think I ever bought Sony brand memory cards. So
you could move one of these into an older PSP with an adapter, but you needed this smaller one to put it in the Go. So you couldn't just take the one from your existing PSP and put it into the Go. You had to take the Go one and use the adapter to use your other one. So you could only go one way. You go backwards, not forwards. Sony's like, nope, no backwards. Just like no backwards compatibility past the PS3, That's what Sony believes in.
You couldn't go backwards, you PSP, go forwards.
No, PSP did work on Vita. You just couldn't use your games. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It was stupid. All right, sorry.
I'll be real fast because I've been following the industry for so long for so many different things. So I was there from original. We're working on a PSP successor discussions. I think that was around 2009, and so then in 2010 we heard about NGP. Ironically, that was when we were finally seeing for the first of many times Sony had a press-only event in Japan where they showed off 2 unannounced things to the press before TGS, and it was NGP and The Last Guardian on PS3.
That game.
So interesting little mixture of Spencer bait there. But yeah, so Vita's interesting one of, I followed it really, really hardcore at launch, but I was in my senior year of high school the year that came out. And I don't know if it was like a funds thing, because it was like, I know I wanted it. Ironically, one of my friends had one the day it came out. Actually earlier, because of that like little launch bundle they did. He was one of those, like, this was back in that era where anytime a new video game system came out, Taco Bell would do a giveaway for everything. Xbox, PS4s, 3DS, like Vita. And he won some random like lunch combo Vita because they were handing them out like, here, we're giving away 30 every day or whatever. And I remember like getting one and just thinking like, and this was at a time in my life where I wasn't eating Taco Bell, and I was like, damn it, I should have been eating Taco Bell. I could have had the PlayStation Vita. And so I waited a while, but when it did come out eventually, I got it in October. I got this little beauty, the 1000 Crystal White version. Still the same one from October of 2012. And that was the Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation bundle. Yep. And I'll never forget it because I picked it up at midnight. And there wasn't a midnight launch for it, but there was one other game that came out that day. There might have actually been... Oh, yeah, there was, because it was also Assassin's Creed 3 came out the same day.
With the PS3 Super Slim. And I have a story about that. Yeah. We'll come back to that in a moment. So I'm going to let you finish what your story.
That was... Neither of those two were the main reason I was there. The other game coming out that day, I was picking up my limited edition copy of Zone of the Enders HD collection. And that was such a funny one for me of just like... I'm a huge Kojima fan, but also love mechs and stuff. So I was like, I'm excited for my Vita. I'm excited for Assassin's Creed because this was still in that era where everyone loved Assassin's Creed. And then also like, no, I'm playing the PS2 mech game first though. Sorry guys. And it was one of those things of picking it up. I knew immediately what I was going to play on it. I actually already had a library because I was reviewing games at the time. And basically anytime we would get codes in, we would usually get 1 or 2 codes, and anytime we'd get duplicate codes, I'd be like, throw them my way. I know I'm getting the Vita eventually, so I have a lot of weird first-year launch games that like most people probably never really remember or talked about. But yeah, it was nice of like, because of also the backwards compatibility and other reasons with it, it was really nice of just like having a library right when you have that system, and especially because there's been a couple, that yellow and white mix is great. And because that like timing there, all like that whole summer of games I was just able to catch up on of like playing Uncharted, playing Gravity Rush, playing Little Big Planet. And then the next month after that was Persona 4 Golden and stuff. So it was just a great launch year all around. And that was before I wasn't even actually a video game collector at the time. I was still definitely in that camp of buy a couple of games, but mostly just kind of pick up the ones you really need to have and not have a giant physical collection. So,
and look at you now.
Oh, I know. It was I wouldn't say I was collecting video games because it did start with the Vita. I wasn't collecting PS4 or anything like nearly to the extent until I started with Vita, and then it trickled to everything else. That probably was 2016 because at that point, then Limited Run had been going for a while. And I was like, and at that time, that was like the perfect time to be Vita collecting because you would literally still find them everywhere. And if you found anything, it was dirt cheap. It was never, I can't find them or it's only garbage sports games. It was just, how's the condition? Because you would find all these weird games like, you want to find Shinobi-Do 2? Do you want to find Smartass? Do you want to find MLB The Show 12 with the Canadian cover for some reason? Go for it, buddy. It's all yours.
What's the Canadian cover?
Oh, I got it right here for you. I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad I asked too.
The Canadian cover, so most people don't know this, but anytime MLB The Show comes out, much like other sports games, they have different cover athletes.
Was that Batista there? Wait, who is that?
This was so for 2012, it's someone from the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name though. But
do they grab a Canadian athlete and throw it on the cover instead?
Yeah.
Yep, basically. So and they do the same thing for like NHL. They also do it for Korea. So for the Asian copies, they also have the Asian athletes on them usually. So there's a MLB The Show 15 on Vita that has a specific Asian athlete, although my copy's special because most people will remember, even if you're not a sports fan, MLB The Show 15 was the last Vita version, but the West was a digital code only.
Yep.
But in Asia, because God knows why, you actually got a physical cart.
Oh, no way.
And an insert, apparently.
Yeah, this was probably like my soul on a season pass or something.
Well, you know what's funny? Same thing with Minecraft. You could get the Minecraft European edition, had a physical cart, but Minecraft on the US is it's an insert in a box. Like how
Minecraft was a weird one because that literally came out the same day. Minecraft was extra weird because Sony published the game in every other country except America physically. So Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Asia. They all got copies. So thankfully, I mean, Minecraft is literally the most printed Vita game out there because it was basically what was selling Vitas in Japan for years after even the Switch was out.
Well, the funny thing about the Minecraft version, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, Spencer, but when I was going to buy a physical European Vita copy, I read somewhere that if you don't have access to the European store, it gets no updates.
The DLC won't work.
That's so stupid.
Yep, and there's a lot of DLC because most people don't know this, but Minecraft was literally getting DLC on the Vita and PS3 up until 2018 or 2019.
Yeah.
I
think the when Vita fell off, it was the Bedrock edition. I think that's when they fell off the Vita.
But
so it got support a long time.
One of the funniest things, I'm kind of glad because this happened the same time as getting into collecting. One of my favorite things about it was finding not only these like weird regional exclusive ones, but then these games that just almost don't make sense. Why didn't they come out over here? Like one of my favorite ones to always go with is only in Asia did you get a physical copy of Civilization Revolution 2 with anime Abraham Lincoln on the cover.
That's amazing.
And it's like Civ Rev is awesome. If you ever played it on 360 or DS even back in the day, like Civ Rev is awesome. Civ Rev 2 Plus, it's just the mobile game with more stuff in it. So it was like, that's perfect. The only bummer, because 2K didn't do a lot of stuff on the Vita, they have a port of XCOM Enemy Unknown and Enemy Within for like, it's super serviceable. It's basically the iPad version of the game, but with trophies. That never got physical. That one always sucked because XCOM ran so well on it.
Can we just all admit that it's Sony's fault that we get Nintendo Switch games with just digital codes in them?
Oh no, definitely not. That would have happened either way. Although very weird tangent, because I'm sure I'm the only one who actually is still buying this series on a yearly basis. I did not think I would be this upset by Ubisoft's news about Just Dance today. Did you hear what happened?
No. What's that about?
Just Dance is now only going to be a live service game. So they've had live service subscriptions of like, if you buy Just Dance Unlimited, you'll get all their new songs and past songs playable at once through streaming.
Okay.
But the thing was, it was always like the original versions. You buy that disc, it has those songs on it. You can play them on that disc forever and ever and ever. So now this year, all versions have no disc, no cart, no nothing. It's just streaming all the songs. So there's no way to keep the songs from 2023 forever. So it's kind of funny of like, I always bought it because it was like, that was one of those games, like literally because it come out right before Black Friday, it would instantly go on sale for like 50% off.
Yep.
And it's like, it's just fun enough and just cheap enough to like be worth buying. Like I'm the only one I've ever known in my PS5 collection, like hiding somewhere over here. Like I have every Just Dance on PS5, which is it's the least impressive PS5 game you're ever going to see.
Yeah, right.
But it's just so funny of like, yeah, like it's just now like Fortnite. It's just it's not even a game in a box. Like it's like not even like it's half the game. It's just the code is in the box. I don't even know why they're like outside of just having a retail presence because they're used to it. Although it's such a weird one of it's one of those weird things of like we're in that future now where like as much as it pains a lot of us to like say it for it, there are just so many games out there where it doesn't make sense to put it on a disc. Not like it's not worth it to have a disc. It's like some of these games are just so big. Like
business
honestly,
sense, it doesn't make sense. Like
not even that. Like even from an act of putting it on a disc, it's like Call of Duty for the last probably 5 years has been the world's least worth a disc ever. sometimes, like now, they don't even have the campaign on them anymore. You have to just download the campaign.
Yeah,
it's kind of a waste to have it that way. And then on top of that, like, how much iteration does Call of Duty even go through? From one game to the next. I mean, it does a little bit, but then, like you're saying, the second you put the disc in, it's obsolete because you have to download something. So why even have a disc other than the fact that you have a physical license?
Right. Well, here's the problem now with these live services, and we can go back, like 6 or 7 years ago, and we got to look at Guitar Hero Live.
Yeah.
I bought it. I bought into it. I bought 2 guitars, and I installed it on my PS5 recently, and it only has a certain amount of songs because the continuous playlist of songs it was a live service game. It was like a very early on live service game before it became a trend to do live service games. And it's one of those things where I guess, what's the saying where, it was just too early for it, basically. Same way with the Vita, it came out too soon, I feel like Guitar Hero Live probably would have done better today as a live service game only, but now it's just useless to me. I invested into all of it.
If you want to sell that, please look up what that game goes for on eBay. It goes for a lot of money.
I don't want to sell it, Live? But it doesn't really.
Guitar Hero Live on pretty much anything but the Wii U. The guitars by themselves already go for a lot. So if you have 2, you're already in business.
Really?
The disc on PS4 and Xbox One go for a lot. Another one, this one goes for way more. Rock Band 4 and Rock Band 4 Rivals goes for crazy amounts of money. Because those were printed on, it was weird they were overprinted, but because they sat on clearance, I'll never forget the Black Friday Rock Band 4 and Guitar Hero coming out. It was my Best Buy had an actual tower, halfway to their ceiling of merch, and no one wanted any of it. So it was one of those things of now that it's been so many years and stuff, and people might be like, oh yeah, dude, I miss Rock Band. It's like those PS4 ones, because they just weren't around as much, and that's the only way to play them, are just super, super in demand. Hi, Will.
Oh no, Will jumped in here. Vita has no legacy, according to Will.
I'm the Vita's legacy. I'll name my firstborn child Vita Jr.
Or at least the middle name, right?
No, first name Proud.
So you would be the father if it's named Vita Jr. You'd have to just name Vita.
Well, no.
Understand that, right? That's how that.
My child's middle name will be Junior. So their full name will be Vita Jr. Presley.
Oh my goodness.
Vita Jr.
Oh no! That would just be too. That would just be too
much. That was a quirky joke that probably no one understood. That's for another time.
Right,
then just to really mess with people, then we'll just have my next child just be Vita Senior.
All right, there you go.
So do you want to know how I found out about the PS Vita? It's kind of an interesting, stupid story.
It would be funny. It'd be funny if Will was the reason. Will gave you his Vita. He said, "This is trash. Here, take this off my hands. Here you go."
No, it's funny you say that though. This is Will's PSP he gave me. It's a PSP 1000.
I was gonna say that's a chunky boy. Now, how's the battery looking on that guy? Have you checked him? Is he
perfect?
Swelling?
I bought a secondhand one that was produced way later in the PSP's life, and
I swear, I don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah, it's an
but
official.
If the Vita ever has a battery swelling issue, I'll go into full panic mode.
I replaced the battery, Spencer. Just ship it to me, and I'll do it for you.
Oh no! But I mean the way the PSP was of all right. After 10 years, these will start swelling up.
Yeah, that would be a problem. No, it's got the official Sony battery in it. Here, I'll pull it out for you. Let me show you.
I
actually had
the original Sony battery.
Vita, I remember taking off and out the battery so many times of I would just be doing too much on that system, and it would just hard lock all the time to the point where I would have to take off the battery for it to reset. I used my PSP like it was basically the world's cheapest iPhone.
Good for you.
All right, here we go. So PS Vita, how did I find out about the Vita? So actually, when it first came out, a friend of mine in college had one. That was how I found out about it. He literally showed up to school and they was like, "Oh, nice PSP." He's like, "This ain't a PSP." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Here's the Vita. I was like, what the heck is a Vita? And so he would show up to class every day with one of these things. And I'm like, I looked at all the games he was playing and I was like, I didn't really care about these games. And so I just kind of ignored it. And then later on in 2016, after I had my first, 2017, when I had my first child, I needed something portable so I could hold the baby and play while I was up all night. And on Father's Day, my wife actually got me a Vita.
And fun fact, chat. Most people don't know the story about Chris, but the first game he got on his Vita was actually Dead or Alive 3 Extreme.
No, it was not.
Man, that's
That's
hey, I'm not gonna lie.
true at
I've always wanted a copy of that one.
That one got expensive, but there's no. I'm not confused about that one. I know why the perverts made that one get rare.
No, this was actually one of the first games I bought.
Dude, Persona 4 is just
how that is not getting green screened out with all your yellow is truly amazing.
So I played my Vita in the hospital while my daughter was being born.
Well, when you gotta wait and there's nothing you can actually do.
I know.
I was hoping there was like a photo of you like next to like your wife like in labor giving birth, and you're like, hold on.
Yeah. I'm holding
like,
the
wait
baby
a
under
second.
one arm and the Vita under the other, and I'm just like, oh.
He's like catching the baby.
You're rubbing the back of your kid's temple, thinking it's the back touchpad. Like, what's going on? This thing's not working.
Yeah, Tearaway's not picking up any of these responses here.
Right.
Trying to push my thumb through. What's going on here?
Oh no.
Oh.
That'd be horrible. So I have a question for you guys. Do you think the Vita is a comfortable system? Because I actually don't on its own. I've got this really nice.
God, look at
grip
all those
for it.
tumors you got on there.
Look at that grip.
I'm
This grip is
uncomfortable looking
amazing.
at that thing.
This is the best grip for remote play. This is a perfect grip.
I'll give you that. For the remote play, the L2 R2 ones are nice because as remote play is a great thing. There are some games like going back to Assassin's Creed where it's like, yeah, when you're playing these games that expects you to hold down L2 and R2 a lot,
It's a
the
pain.
touchscreen's not happening.
So question then. Next question. Good point. Remote play. How much remote play have you guys done? And did you have a PS4 first or a Vita first? And did you buy them for remote play?
I'm going to tell you right now, I tried to do the remote play with my PS3 before the PS4 was even
same
in existence, and it was trash back then.
was
What
really
games did
bad.
you try it with?
Shadow of the Colossus.
Yep.
That was the worst freaking game.
Exactly it
That experience was awful.
What was Shadow of the Colossus? I can't believe you said that.
Well, for one, the PS2 controls are still implemented. Even with the DualShock 3, you got to use the PS. It's like the jump button isn't even like a normal jump button.
No.
It's like trying to play that on the Vita was a nightmare because first off, you're getting like 3 FPS over your Wi-Fi with a PS3. So if you're not Ethernet connected, there's no way. And even once you add the Ethernet to your PS3, you're only getting like 15 FPS over the Wi-Fi. Like, it's awful.
Yeah, I was literally in like a perfect triangle of like my PS3, my router, and me with my Vita was all like a 3-foot triangle on each side. Like there should have been perfect performance, you know. There's no excuses at all.
Remote play is a weird one. It's really like it makes no sense in some cases. Of like sometimes it's great for some people. Like when it's great for me, I thankfully never honestly had issues with remote play. It's always been great. I've never even had issues back in the PS3 era of it, whether it be super far away or super close by. I've always had really, really good luck. But I have friends who still, it's like they just can't get it to work. And I know we literally have the same internet. So it's really weird of why some people have either really good examples with it. Because I played a ton of PS4 stuff with it. I was playing PS3 stuff kind of sometimes, but honestly, PS3 remote play mostly was my way to play PS1 games that I had physically that weren't on the store.
That's how I did Crash Bash, Spencer.
Exactly, but my other ways.
The PS3 games didn't work nearly as good. I can stream a PS1 game and it'll come out perfect, 30 FPS even, just fine over the Wi-Fi. But when I try to stream a PS3 game onto my Vita, that's when I run into issues.
Mm-hmm. But the other examples though, PS4 was really, really nice of probably the games I had the most time remote played into that weren't just hey, I'm playing this for comfortability's sake. Would be played a lot of Persona 5. Yeah, Persona 5 on there was really, really nice, especially because I wasn't really it was not a game where you grind a lot, but there's a lot of moments when you're going through mementos or whatever, I don't gotta be paying attention to this, so pull up something on Netflix or whatever and be going through it. Other games like Final Fantasy 14 still plays great. Final Fantasy 14, you would think this MMO with this crazy busy HUD, but that screen and the way they had fit the controls with it, it's really a testament to that. The way they fit that into a controller could still work just as well without L2, L3, R2, R3.
Really, the remote play works great for any game that doesn't require R2, L2, R3, L3.
Exactly.
And then if they do require it, if it's just haphazard, not all the time, then it's not a big deal either. The problem that I run into, and I will say, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, if you haven't tried that on remote play, try it. It is
I guarantee
awful.
I guarantee you no one making that game ever thought to try that.
Well, no, because the thing, okay, here's my one gripe with remote play. I'm so angry about this stupid thing Sony did. Instead of making R2 and L2 and R3 and L3 work on the front and the back for every game with controls, they said, all right, devs, you decide. Is it going to be the front or the back panel? And it's like, so my entire case is useless if they use the front panel. So if the R2, L2 on the Mass Effect, I have to literally tap the corners of the screen for R2, L2, R3,
That's
L3,
ridiculous.
which is the stupidest implementation they could have come up with.
It should have been universal.
It should have just been the back touchpad. Like, there's no other use case for it with remote play. Why would you need a back touchpad for anything else? And then the front part makes sense because that's just the little touch thing on the DualShock 4. That's always implemented that way. That makes total sense. And I accidentally click the screen all the time on Witcher 3, which pulls up menus, and I'm like, damn it. But other than that, like, I think it is a great, like, when they optimize it, when the devs are actually thinking about it, which they're required to at least implement it, but not necessarily think about it once they do. Most of the time, it's nice.
It's funny. I remember when the PS4 first came out, I only had one controller for it. Oh, good. My story's so bad. He walked away.
He's probably grabbing something.
I'm just kidding. So I only had one controller. It was right when MLB The Show 13 came out because that was the first PS4 one. And we used my Vita as remote play for player 2.
Yep.
And it worked fine. It got the job done. And
yeah, it really does.
Yeah, that was when I only had my OLED and I still had my grip for it because when the OLED was out, when that was the available system, accessories were really easy to find. It was once the 2000 came out is when they pretty much just said, no,
I'm like 90% sure that the bulk of systems that were produced, or at least a majority, are 2000s.
Oh, 1,000,000%. The only funny is, I'm trying to think. So, Chris, your system you showed with the R2 triggers, that's the 1000, right?
That is a 1000, yep.
So that company who made those, if that's the one I'm thinking of, there's one company who, so they actually didn't have, for many years into the Slim's life, a Slim version of it. And that didn't get made until, I think, 2017 or 2018, where they finally actually made a mold that fit the 2000 model, because there were so many more people with it. It was like, hey, this is one of like the Vita's most popular accessories, were those remote play grips. Just because that L2 R2 button for it, but it only fit the slim discontinued model that haven't been made in like 4 years. So that was one of those funny ones of like a weirdly late accessory, but was definitely like, even though like I don't ever use it for it, like I super see the need for it.
There's actually a really nice 2000 model grip case made by a little known company called Heroine that's actually way better.
Well, that's
I actually think the Heroine one is what I was thinking of too.
The PS Vita 2000 Heroine, because there's actually not there is a Heroine grip for the 1000 model, but it's not an L2 R2 trigger grip. The Heroine case actually has L2 R2 L3 R3, all four.
But it's so pricey. I've always wanted one. I just can't justify it. I actually, a while back, there's a guy that runs a small 3D printing outfit out of Washington. I think he's in Washington State, and he sent me a bunch of like homemade Vita accessories, including a Vita grip. And I reviewed all those on my channel, and it made me realize how much better the Vita is with a grip. Like I remember when the Vita came out, I had been playing so much of it, and I started getting this terrible pain in my shoulder, down my arm into my pinky. It's that nerve, right? And I went to my doctor. I'm like, I think I'm having a heart attack. He's like, no. He's like, you have a pinched nerve there. He's like, what are you doing differently? I'm like, nothing. He's like, are you sitting weird? Are you doing like weird things? I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, and then we talked about video games. I mentioned the Vita, and I you know what's funny? There's a delay.
With this bad boy all day.
Yeah, exactly. There's a delay on YouTube, and literally I just saw you pick up the Dead or Alive to the right of me, and I got really confused for a second. But basically, it was holding the Vita the way I was holding it. Was pinching that nerve from my shoulder blade to my pinky.
That is bizarre.
10 years ago, and it just got.
And I've heard you've had carpal tunnel to this day ever since.
That's 100% true. Yeah. So,
so it's funny that you say that. There's actually a Chinese brand I see it on eBay all the time. It's called Top Player.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Chinese brand. I could be wrong, but they actually copied the JC design and created an additional accessory that sits right in this touchpad, and I have it, and it does R3L3.
Yes,
underneath. Yep,
it's adhesive though.
I don't use the adhesive. I just hope the plastic holds while I'm playing.
Okay, I was just gonna say because I saw that and I was gonna get it and I was reading the.
You don't need the adhesive at all. It'll actually sit right in there.
That's the equivalent of just the PlayStation Vita Elite Series 2.
Exactly.
The elite part is having the back forefinger strength to hold it up like Chris.
Yeah.
Well, how amazing is it that Sony created a system that people love so much that we created specific grips for it to remote play the PS4?
I honestly just find it so funny. Like, I always feel like I've got big ass Kalbasa man hands, but like the Vita is just one of those systems where seriously, like, I've never thought it needed anymore. Like, just that little extra. The only thing I'll give the 2000 in terms of its grip space, though, God bless them for shrinking the back touchpad, because the let me pop this up. These guys were definitely needed to be a little bit bigger. Those little finger grip holders.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So the extra large size of those on the Slims are always such a lifesaver. But yeah, this is my only accessory I've ever, like, outside of a case, I've ever used. So
where'd you get that Persona 4 case from?
This was the
Persona
4 limited release.
It was a solid gold, right?
Solid gold. Don't look up how much this costs on eBay edition. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I have before. I almost got. You know, it's funny. When I got my Vita, those were only going for about $100.
Well, hey, that was a lot of money at the time. But yeah, the funny thing about that is there were two ways to get that case, actually. So it came with this is the hard shell, which literally all it does is just protects your front memory sticks, and then also has some little foam here for the touchscreen, but also came with this
extra
outer
case
shell.
to put it in
but
there,
the thing about this shell, and I found this out because I use definitely less this year, but up until 2022, this was my daily driver. I played this more than any other system when I was out and about, and I actually broke it. And it was one of those things where it's like, this case, to get another one of these, costs more than the system.
Yeah.
Because they're just so rare. And I found somebody, God bless them, on Facebook Marketplace who was selling them and had it like mislabeled.
Oh,
and
boy.
Funnily enough, like they were selling it as like a dual set of, like, they had one of these signed by a voice actor from Persona 4.
Really?
It was Laura Bailey, actually. And they had this case. And I actually didn't even want the hard one of this, but I was like, whatever, I'll take it off because I know you're not going to use it. So I bought it off her, and outside of having to do some cleaning up for it, like, this is super, super fine. Like, it's still got some like scratch and stuff on it, but none of the paint or anything's been chipped off. And it's like, it's the perfect accessory duo. But the thing is, when this case doesn't have the holder on the system, it's got so much extra, it's rattling around in there. So like, you have to use it. So that was kind of like one of the bummers for a long time of, like, I probably had a different case I was using for almost like 2.5 years there, just because it was one of those things of, especially when you have something in a case and you're moving around a lot, you don't want it rattling around in there. Like, that's just going to give you anxiety all the time. So that was a funny one of, like, really wanting to like find this specific accessory where there's no other alternatives. That's not like hundreds of dollars, but also at the same time realize it's an accessory and I don't need it. So it's hard to justify of like that. I'm curious for you two. These are two different questions, so I'll let you pick which one you want to kind of go with it first. What is the most expensive Vita-related item you've bought? And then what is the most pricey Vita-related item you still have?
Ooh, good question.
How much are the PS TVs going for now?
They're like 100. They've definitely cooled off since 2 years ago.
Because they were like
Yeah,
250
they were
like 2
crazy.
years ago.
Listen,
I
honestly,
only paid like 30 for mine.
Unless I
paid
found
20
someone in
bucks.
person who would sell me one for like $50, I still wouldn't buy one, even if it was like in front of me.
Yeah.
Mine was brand new. Well, it wasn't. It was Sony refurbished. Some guy had like a boatload of them, like somewhere between.
It was probably literally the guy whose job it was to refresh them. He probably just had a bucket full of them.
He was selling them on eBay, and he had them at like $50, and I offered him like 30, and he said, "All right, I'll do it for 40," and I was like, "Fine," and I took it, and then literally a week later they went $250, like 1 week later.
That's insane. I got mine for $20 when eBay put them on. I mean, eBay when Best Buy put them on clearance. I was like, yeah, sure, $20 up. I'm gonna grab one now.
That's like those old PlayStation Minis now. The fact that those started at 100, plummeted to 50, bargained bin to 20, and now they're back to $100 again blows my mind. I'm like, what happened?
I bought a second one when they went down to $20. I'm like, I got it in a box somewhere. Like, why not? I was like, oh, yeah, I'll grab one more. You never know. I mean, you never know. This thing could be worth a stupid amount of money one day because, you know.
Oh yeah, even because it bombed. I bet that Sega Mini 2 is going to go for a bunch because they're limited printing them.
Exactly.
Hey, shout out to in the chat down here, Mr. I think it's pronounced Obdi or Abdi. I don't know. He does the horror and Bikini Bottom stuff.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
just finished that. Did you see that at all?
No, not at all. What is it? Yeah. Should I look this up now? And
let's just go on a little deep dive. I can never pronounce his name right. I'm sorry, man. I apologize right out the gate.
Why you just spell it out, Mr. or Mrs. OBDI?
Well, when I see OBD, I think of the OBD scanners for cars. So that throws me off right away.
Jesus, man, we got to get you a life. That should not be the first thing you think of when you see those letters next to each other.
But this is who he is. I'll show you real quick.
Oh, it's like legit animation.
Yeah, no, he did the entire Bikini Bottom horror. Yeah, he did the whole thing with I think he's got a team animator and a couple other people, but it's really cool. I was just talking to him the other day. We're gonna try and get him on for an interview and a podcast sometime. But yeah, what in the world? YouTube pulled my subscription.
Shadow ban, dude. The trend continues.
What the heck? Man, I'm sorry. Apparently they pulled our subscription
individual.
from you.
That's a good short
even weirder. I've been subscribed to him for like 2 years, and I go to his page live.
Wait. Do you have two YouTube accounts? Like, do you have your personal as
Maybe.
a separate?
Oh, Chris has got way more than two, but we can't.
I was saying, like, I have my personal YouTube account like that.
Chris once showed me in a late post show.
Look at this. Look at this. I caught you. Oh, we're subscribed now. It's all good. I thought we were already.
Chris and I had a nice deep dive of one of your 900 alt YouTube accounts. I think one of them is just for watching those ASMR channels. It was really great.
What?
Yeah, it's the ambient unboxing channel. That's where you watch all your ASMR videos.
Oh no! Ambient unboxing is used for like nothing. I used that account in like 20. So that's a good segue. Did you know that before the CHRILLCAST started, I had been doing ambient unboxing for like 2 years, and I had like multiple good
ambient
hits.
Unboxing.
All right, one of Chris's 900 projects. That's why I'm always surprised when I find things Chris doesn't do. Like, where's CHRILLCAST on TikTok? That's what I want to know.
I don't do TikTok. Yeah, I've been doing this channel for a long time, actually.
You should have done your Steam Deck unboxing on here.
I did.
Oh, you did?
It's on there. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is it just like with no voiceover, basically?
Exactly. It's just unboxing and showing people what's in there. That's it. I don't talk.
See, I saw the Steam link and I thought clearly that's all he could afford at the time, so he didn't get it.
Nope. There's the Steam Deck right there, 512. I got like no views on it. I was surprised. Like, I literally unboxed this thing, but I'm Q3, so that's probably why.
I know. I didn't even bother doing an unboxing video or anything. I got so much Steam Deck content that's just in my head right now. That's just going to come out.
But we should
honestly
collab
a lot of Steam Deck, a lot of
sure.
not to move it away too much for it, but honestly, a lot. I'm glad to see there are people out there more picky because man, so many people I feel like they own the Steam Deck just to show people games they can play, not to play the games on there, just to show start screens. Go.
Are you kidding? Do you realize that Halo Infinite is so difficult for me to get time to play on my actual Xbox that playing it on my Steam Deck, I will probably finish the game multiple times before I would ever get through the entire game on my Xbox.
I'm expecting a Lasso Steam Deck run then.
Then Jordan and I will do a co-op Lasso run on Steam Decks.
Well, we need to see split screen hack on.
I want to.
We need to see the split screen hack on Steam Deck. That would be funny.
Jordan and I actually live close enough to each other. We could probably actually try that. I think he's only like a half hour away from me at most.
Yeah, probably. Because how close are you to the airport?
It's about 55 minutes from where I live.
North or south?
South.
The airport's south of you. Are you?
Yes. No. I'm south of the airport.
Okay, so I'm about 25 minutes north of the airport.
Okay, it'd be about an hour drive then.
Yeah, but I don't want to give away anything. I don't want to
Let's just put our addresses in the comments, guys. Let's just.
Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to dox you, but
why are we pussyfooting around this? Let's just put it all out.
You are close to the Ohio border, correct?
That is a fact. Yes.
Yes.
And there's a lot of places where you can be close to the Ohio border.
Exactly, but Yes, I know you. Yeah. So you're about an hour from me.
Probably about an hour.
But honestly, that would be a funny video though if like you and I just sat in the same room playing like Halo co-op, campaign.
You know what I would do is I would like start the video out, pretend like we're in different places, like have like a line in the middle and green screen me into a different room, and then all of a sudden just remove the facade. We're sitting right next to each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be great. No, yeah, Halo Infinite on 2 Steam Decks. I think Digital Foundry tried that with split screen online. They didn't do split screen co-op.
Okay.
Yeah, it was technically that split screen though. It's just co-op online, but they mixed the Steam Deck in there, so that was cool.
Yeah.
But split screen on a Steam Deck together would be hilarious.
I want to try it.
Hey, okay. So speaking of stupid things, the peripheral port on the Vita 1000.
Yeah, because don't forget, you guys aren't getting out of the question of who spent the most money on dumb stuff.
Oh yeah, we forgot.
How dumb is it that we have this peripheral port that to this day Sony has never done anything with?
No.
Well, I mean, I would say at least we found out what it was. Like for the longest time when we didn't know what it was going to be for, that was the most upsetting thing to me. Like it was literally the appendix of the system. But at least like when we found out it was going to be basically for a way to do video out, I appreciated it being like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Like. Because it was just so weird coming off the PSP, which had a video out in it.
Unless you got the 1000 model, which has the same jack as the other ones, but you can't use it.
So it was one of those things of like I was glad to kind of find out with it because there were a couple of channels that literally were like buying test kits that had
they bricked a couple Vitas or the cord. I don't remember which. Because it was like a specific Phillips cord that came with a specific camera that you could plug into that peripheral port, and then you'd plug it into like a TV.
It's just so funny because like where it's at, the fact that it's right next to the game card slot, you would think it's like something actually like if it was like almost on the bottom of the system, I would be more forgiving of it. But like its placement makes it seem like you've got to do something for this, right?
Yeah. I don't know why, but my brain went to the camera, but I realized that was for the PSP.
Yeah, no, that was not.
Never forget, by the way, not only did they have a camera for the PSP, they had a GPS for the PSP, but then the one that always gets forgotten more, there was also literally just a microphone accessory.
Yep.
Thanks, iPad. But yeah, so for you guys, does anything stand out of like, oh my god, I spent so much money on this?
Oh yeah, I was gonna pull up.
This is crazy rare now, and
I bought a Vita at launch at retail price. So I guess was pretty expensive.
I'm scared if we're capping you out at 200, man, because it's going to get bad for me then.
No, it was 250. Remember?
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. I don't think I've ever spent anything that I would deem ridiculous. Even my white, and they call it lime green, but this is definitely like neon yellow. Which, by the way, I never understood that. It's not green and it's not lime, like it's neon yellow, but the Japanese, whatever.
In Japan, it's like Breaking Bad when you go to Mexico and the colors change. Japan's the same way with Vitas.
Is that what? Okay, that makes sense.
That's what happens.
Right when that came out, I ordered one on eBay from a seller, and it literally got to me in 20 hours from Asia.
That's amazing.
Blew my mind. I don't know. And I paid about retail. I think I paid like $220 for it shipped. Brand new.
I've got a branded PS Vita case, one of those hard shell cases with the clip that GameStop gave me for free.
Oh, was that the official Sony one? Or
yeah.
Those are
I don't think that's worth like
anything. Very many of those like little starter kits, but those are nice. Do you guys have any games now that you're like shocked or are that expensive? Because
why is Shovel Knight $100?
Shovel Knight's a weird one where Shovel Knight took a long time to finally break 100. Like, I feel like for something as popular as Shovel Knight, I feel like that should have gotten rare quicker. Like,
well, there was 5,000 or 6,000 printed by Fangamer, which actually was one of the kickoffs for limited run games.
Well, no, at that point with
no, it was I'm sorry, it was
that was Retro City Rampage, but they were
which
both
I also have.
Fangamer.
I have that one too.
The real one that's funny that most people don't know it got printed a ton of times and even got a retail release was Undertale. Undertale on Vita was done through Fangamer in the West.
I have that one.
But Undertale got a physical release retail in Japan and stuff just because Undertale's super popular over there.
I was going to say, I have the PS Vita Fangamer Undertale print. I have that. That one's not worth much though.
Well, yeah, just because that one they printed so many. But I mean, when a game is cheap, I'm always just like, oh, that's good. Like when there's like weird examples of trying to think of ones that like
it's $60, so it's held its value. The Undertale for the Vita.
Like a good
Zero
example,
Escape, the Nonary games, is on multiple other platforms, but it's $66 on the Vita.
You know what just happened with Zero Escape games, right?
No.
So it's actually going to be in reverse order, but it'll make sense when I explain it. Zero Time Dilemma just got delisted on every PlayStation platform.
Really?
And next year, the Nonary games will be delisted on all PlayStation platforms. So remember how Danganronpa got delisted on PlayStation because NIS didn't have the rights anymore, and Spike Chunsoft put it back up themselves?
Oh, God.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing. Spike Chunsoft licensed it out to Xseed. The license ran up. Xseed is willing to publish it still, but Spike Chunsoft wants all the money and not just part of the money. The problem with that, much like Danganronpa, they took it off the store while the store was still up. Now that they have the rights, they never put it back up. So there's no way to buy that game digitally, and you have to buy it physically. So
I have it. I have a digital version.
The Nonary game, Virtue's Last Reward. Although really, because the Nonary game has Virtue's Last
Reward.
Well,
nobody wants. So I guess there's like a glitch in the physical copy of Virtue's Last Reward.
Well, that was patched.
And they cleaned. Well, there's no glitch on the physical copy in Nonary games. So like it's better to have that.
If you want like a complete thing for it, but I mean, honestly, Nonary games is already the mandatory one to get anyway because it's the best way to have 999. Other weird ones are like games you wouldn't think are rare.
What? The officially branded PS Vita shell that I got for free because some GameStop Billy gave it to me for free because they were throwing it away. It's going for $60 pre-owned.
First party accessories are pricey, man.
Why?
Like, you get some good money from that.
I mean,
Persona
like it's a nice case, but
that Persona set we just talked about, I can only find one listing on every Western online marketplace. $300.
Yeah, I mean, I see them anywhere from like the really beat up ones are like $20, but like ones like mine that's in good shape, $40 plus.
So here's a good one that you should look up because you were talking about it recently. You should look up Lost Dimension. Like Lost Dimension for the longest time was like a $20 game. Of like it didn't do super well at launch, but
I
Lost
want
Dimension,
that one.
Yeah. So
Vita,
Lost
though.
Dimension now I think is over $100
games. It's like 90.
Okay.
There's one listed right now, 4 days left at $23, but it'll hit 90 by the time it hits the end. I was watching one.
So I recently had to dip my toe back into the eBay world because I missed out on that Last of Us special edition for part 1.
And no, those are all beat up, dude. Did you find one?
I don't care. I don't care. Although I think the one I bought actually did arrive in okay. I literally was like, I didn't care what the box came in because the box is pretty like whatever. I literally just want what's in the box. Okay. But I found a dude who actually gave me a really, really good deal. But I just got so tired of like. Because everyone was just doing them for auction because they were starting to sell. They were like literally a week ago, 400, 450, 500. And then now that a week has passed, literally they're going for 150 to 170.
Yeah. See, here's the Lost Dimensions on eBay right now.
Yeah. So
I literally look at the same exact thing as you are.
Another good one, since you're sharing your screen, check out the price for Odin Sphere on Vita. That blows my mind that's now over $100. That's another game that you just couldn't get rid of them at the time. Like all these games.
Isn't it not even the best version?
Oh, it's the best version. Well, in my opinion, like it's the remake of the PS2 game with additional content and stuff. But like
I was thinking of the other one that
Muramasa?
No. The side scroller.
Dragon's
I know exactly, Chris. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dragon's Crown. Yep, that's it.
Dragon's Crown. Yeah,
I would say Dragon's Crown's definitely the best version because that. Remember, you have to use your.
Didn't the remaster version on the PS4 work right?
Yeah, the PS4 version. Like they're all good versions. Like PS3 is fine. Vita.
Yeah, Odin Sphere is expensive. You're right about that.
I was just thinking that made me think about when you mentioned Dragon's Crown because then I was thinking about something else here. Didn't you feel like there were a bunch of games that were on PS4 that should have been ported to the Vita that just weren't?
Really, I always almost thought myself of the opposite. There were so many cases where I was surprised how long or game like there was that era where we were getting after the PS4 was out, games only coming to PS3 and Vita. It was so weird. Of like,
yeah, they had cross-buy too.
They did the crossbuy. No, like what was something like Ubisoft?
Like a good one for me is like, isn't it weird? Sly 4 came out the year of the PS4, but never had a PS4 version.
That is true. Yeah.
But no, like a good example is Dragon's Crown. Dragon's Crown came out in 2014 on PS3 and Vita, and then literally until 2019 finally came to PS4.
Yeah.
And they didn't even add anything to it. It's just the game in 4K. So it was really funny of like...
Technically, I think it is a slightly better version, but not by much.
Well, the nice thing is they added some extra quality of life features, but they patched it into the past versions because they were all crossplay with each other.
Right. I mean, like the disc physically ships with all of that on it. Like you don't have to worry about updates.
Like as one of the few people who actually have like a hard on for looking at not only patch notes but download size, Dragon's Crown with all of its updates, I don't think ever even broke like 50 megabytes. It's really tiny. They were really, really micro-sized.
It's also one of the few ones that actually says PS TV compatible on the box. I'm pretty sure.
I remember because I worked retail when the PS TV came out. I remember I always had such a kick on. So when the Sony rep would come to my store, and they had to do this all stores that sold Vita games. So let's see if I have one. Yeah, here we go. I got Disney Infinity 2.0. Shout out to Weird Vita ports. So, here. Actually,
I have the black Spider-Man figure for that game.
Perfect. So this is a great example. So my Soul Hackers thing is blaring. Here's a game that would work on the PS TV, but obviously it came out before it, so there's no space for it there. Here's a game that came out for it afterwards, and this one very rarely was ever used. That little where you would see the only on PlayStation thing, that white area would let you know it works in PS TV compatible. This is on so few games, that little bit. And that's what's really funny is they had a little sticker that they would put on the plastic of the case, and it was just a little, like, it was like the size where it would be on the cover, and it would just be like playable on PlayStation Vita. And I was like, I just like joked about it with him of like, man, I don't like. It's funny, like I wouldn't want that sticker on my case, but I think the fact that they went into those stores and were putting those on copies was so interesting because it was like you don't see a lot of copies, like situations like that of like publishers going back to stores to change the same game that they sold like for years. Like a great example is when Fallout 76 had that Outlanders the Wastelanders expansion last year or 2 years ago.
They would add stickers, didn't they?
No, a slip cover. There was a whole slip cover they put because they wanted to change the cover art because the original cover art's so tainted.
Yeah, pretty much. So just for fun, go ahead.
Oh, no. But yeah, it was just one of those weird ones of just like, yeah, like they tried and like the least since the word, but like even at the time, because I remember Limited Run for a little bit wasn't including playable on remote play. Sorry, not playable on PS TV. And there was a funny time where people were like, hey, we want this to say it on the box so we know if it is or not. Because actually, most people don't know this, but there are some games, Chris, that the digital version works on PlayStation TV, but the limited run version has it turned off.
What?
Yes.
Are you serious?
So the physical version doesn't work on the PlayStation TV.
Is it just because they licensed it differently?
Nope. It was literally just incompetence because they were a super small team at the time and weren't checking for stuff like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So I actually did a video 4 months ago, Sony's biggest failure about the PS TV. And that was before I realized that I forgot about the PlayStation Classic, which means that's probably a bigger failure. But
I mean, I've got to say though, Chris, speaking of going back to old videos, I don't remember who brought it up to me, but I went and checked out and listened to all of the CHRILLCAST Amico videos in the past. And I've got to give you kudos. I love how you went and updated in the comment sections of all of them, letting everyone know. All right, it's like you like did the equivalent of like those like on the old racist cartoons. In recent highlight, like due to recent news, we want you to all know we are aware that the Amico is still not out and it's very weird. So probably don't give them any of your money. But hey, enjoy the video anyway. This is what we thought at the time.
So I will say, so the reason why I was intrigued by the Amico, and I actually do have a pre-order in still for it. So if it does come out, I will get one. But I doubt it will ever come out.
I'm telling you right now, because like that little update they did recently of just saying, hey, we have a couple of systems going out that are just going to go to all like the retro and game YouTube people out there. Oh, I hope you're one of them, Chris. I want you to get one of these bad boys so bad.
I want to review it just because, like, I don't know. I just want to close the loop on that one. I want to actually get a chance to try it. And if it's garbage, I will do the funniest video sending that thing off. Like, I might put it in a one of those origami cranes and have it go into the lake and just watch it go down slowly but surely. Like that may end up being
like a slow like a end of season Sopranos death almost.
Exactly. Or maybe I'll give it a Viking funeral and set it on fire in the lake. But I do want to review it, and if it ever does come out, I will absolutely do that. Or I'll throw it on eBay for an insane amount of money and say signed by Tommy Tallarico. Long story short, the reason why I liked the idea of it was if you've ever played a Wii U, the asymmetric gameplay of the Wii U is super awesome. And I've played Jackbox games too, which you can use your phones on and do like Bomb Squad and all that stuff. And the idea of having controllers like built into the system with screens that you could do Bomb Squad is super cool idea. That was why I was interested in Amico. Just like the sitting around the TV board game fun, not like anything else. So, and then I was like, but I got Jackbox games. I really need this. That was my whole thought process.
You know, it's funny. While you have the little YouTube thing up, the gaming historian, I always get reminded of this, but I never do anything. I live almost, I would say, dangerously close to where he lives. We are in the exact same part of the Midwest. And it's like, I know exactly where, like, what part of town, because, like, it's not that big. Like, the area we live, it's not that big of an area. So it is, like, really funny. Like, I'm just more amazed I've never run into him. Or at the same time, I'd be like, I would love to, like, reach out to him for, like, an interview, just to be like, hey, man, let's just have, like, a fucking meet-up lunch interview.
Yeah, you definitely should. I mean, I've got several people that are like friends with him that I'm friends with. Like, I know Adam Korlick is friends with Norm.
I just met him. I forgot to tell you. I actually met him for the first time for the first in a long time. Because I met him at a Midwest Game Con, Mo Game Con, like 2018 or no, it would have been 2017. Wow,
you're talking about Adam, right?
Yeah. I saw Adam a couple of years at some like random thing because like he gets shipped around all those conventions a pony because it was Pluto. So he was at he and a couple of the other like gaming dad folks went to the Kansas City Games and Collectible Swap thing. It has a weird name to kind of convey, hey, we have a lot of different stuff here, but it's not games, but we're mostly here for games. So yeah, he was one of the people that were flown out. I gotta like say hi to him for a little bit for it. That was I've been jonesing for like going to some video game cons. I don't know if you guys enjoy going to stuff like that for it, but I've been, especially because where I live, there's not a lot of them. It was like, oh man, I missed this.
Yeah, I mean, I live within a like driving distance of Chicago, technically, so like I could go there if they had one. But at the same time,
just go to Volition. Just go to their headquarters and be like, "Can you guys like just talk to me about games?" I can't
imagine grabbing my wife and 4 kids and saying, "We're going to a video game convention for vacation."
No, just be like, "We're going to Champaign, Illinois, and we're gonna just ask them what happened to Saints Row." That's all we're gonna do.
Chris, I could probably pull that off.
Yeah,
I could pull that off. Yeah, let's get in the car. Let's go.
Your wife does she?
You cut out there for a second. What was that?
Your wife does a little gaming though, doesn't she?
Yeah, like I said, she's sitting behind me playing that new Disney game on Xbox right now. So
the definitely not Animal Crossing Disney.
It's the most definitely the Animal Crossing of Disney.
But my wife has only touched a few games in the past decade, and one of them is Just Dance, Minecraft. She's touched that one.
Okay.
And
sorry, Chris. Who was it again?
My wife.
Who?
My wife.
My wife.
My wife. No, she. Borat.
You've been a dad for too long not to bust out the Borat automatically. I was ashamed it took you that long.
I've only seen that movie once.
It does. Okay. It's all it takes is one viewing. That's all you need. It's all comedy gold after that.
Total like side here. You just made me think to add that to my Plex server because I don't have it.
Well, speaking of movies, we do have a question in the chat that I'm dying to see everyone else's thoughts of.
Is it this one?
Uh-huh.
Oh, is that the movie with Adam Sandler playing his twins?
His sister, yes.
His
Oh
sister.
God,
The
that
only
movie was
reason,
awful.
by the way, definitely add that to the Plex server. I'll say
That
this,
movie
but
is so bad, it's
I hope
good.
you all have seen it or at least have a comment on it. Has anyone else here besides me seen the terrible movie Jack and Jill?
I have seen it.
No, I've not, but I'll add that one too.
Chris, do you know the best part?
No, I don't. It's been so long, and I've buried
You
that.
will. As soon as I say it, you're going to go, oh my God, how did I forget that? The best part of Jack and Jill, hands down, unironically, this had to be intentional for the movie. It's a terrible movie, but for some reason, maybe they had blackmail or like weird like 80s like Tim Allen arrest records on Al Pacino. But Al Pacino does a Dunkin' Donuts commercial that is the best thing you've ever seen in your life, where he sings a song about changing his name from Al Pacino to Dunkachino.
Oh, God.
What?
Do you not remember this, Chris? It's a whole
not.
song. He comes like literally. There was a whole Twitter account based on like parodies of this. It's literally a shot of Al Pacino walking to Dunkin' Donuts, and it like literally goes like, "Wow, is that Al Pacino? It's not Al anymore. It's Dunk." And then some random guy, because this doesn't even make sense. Because if he says his name is Dunk, his full name would still be Dunk Pacino. But the guy goes, Dunkachino? And he says, that's right. And then bust into a 2-minute long song about the Dunkachino, a drink that actually was able to be made at Dunkin' Donuts, but they don't know how to do it anymore.
But they're not called Dunkin' Donuts anymore.
That's true. They are just called Dunkin'.
They're just Dunkin'. It's really stupid. I don't
That
like
is one of the dumbest name changes of the 21st century.
We can't even make fun of them though. I actually didn't know this until recently because I'm now like really close to one for like work reasons. I didn't realize Dunkin' Donuts is just like as big. It's not as big, but like it's Starbucks big. It's really like that
Absolutely.
is a big brand, which is insane to me.
Yeah, actually, Starbucks is way bigger than I thought it was because we didn't even have one in the area. Like where I live in the entire county, there was no Starbucks until like a couple years back. So I never realized how widespread Starbucks is. And because I don't, frequently buy $10 coffees, like I just didn't realize how many there were in this area outside of the county I live in. So I guess it's like a worldwide phenomenon everywhere, just like Subway.
You know what though? I'll be honest. Starbucks, they do get that stigma for the $10 coffee, but I feel like 90% of the customers are like me. They just go in there for just like a standard like coffee, like a $2 like brewed cup of coffee.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll go to
like
Dunkin' Donuts. Like my go-to time to ever go to Dunkin' Donuts is it's 4 a.m. and you're in an airport. Like that's a great time to go to Dunkin' Donuts. Whereas like I would take a Dunkin' Donuts anything over like Krispy Kreme any day. Like Dunkin' Donuts, I walk by and I go, I know why you're still in business. Krispy Kreme, I don't get it.
Oh my God, no, Krispy Kreme is unreal. What are you talking about?
But also, I'm weird and don't like the one thing they're known for. Like I think glazed donuts are just the most overrated donut out there. Whereas like that's all they can do.
Right.
So like it's like no one's ever been like, dude, you got to try their bear claws.
There's a very, very specific donut place near my where I live that I'm not going to mention on chat, but they're like their own local business and they make the best donuts like ever. So like I'm spoiled. My local donut shop is amazing.
Yeah, Chris, message me or text me with what
I will definitely message you.
I'm curious about that.
It'll be an hour drive for you, but. But if we meet up, I'll bring them.
Absolutely. Well, so my wife grew up down there.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I forgot
yeah.
She'll know.
She might actually know the place. So yeah.
She probably would. All right. So next thing here, you asked what the most expensive thing I own for the Vita. It's probably my Vita or my PS TV. I just realized this. But I do have a weird accessory that I doubt either of you guys have, and I actually used it for a little while. It's the custom PS Vita battery pack that you can plug in.
I remember that.
And you can charge it with the official Sony charger for the PS Vita 1000. That's the only way to charge it.
And it had a little round button on the top, right?
It did, yep. And a power button on the top, and it still works. So every once in a while when I want to eke out an extra couple hours of Vita play, I break out that battery and hope to God it's charged, and then I plug it in. I don't know how much that's worth. I'm going to look that one up.
Definitely look that up.
You're gonna find out you're sitting on an actual gold mine. You're gonna be
It
like
might be
$900.
It might be worth.
That would be ridiculous.
It's an official Sony brand.
You're gonna find out like 9 out of every 10 turned into a bomb.
I also have an additional official Sony brand charger. That was hard to find too when I got it because like nobody was making PS Vita 1000 chargers, especially not Sony in 2017.
Oh, at least the cable themselves, because
yeah,
any USB cable is going to go bad. So
I had to go on eBay and get one secondhand.
Really?
I just noticed
that's the only charger I've ever.
This guy.
That's the only charger I've ever bought with the purpose thinking of I've got to future proof it is the 1000 chargers because like I wanted it. Like there are third party equivalents, but like I was like I still want one out there.
Hey, what is this? Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared coming back.
How do you not know that? That's like a really popular like old YouTube show. Yeah, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is like I forget the name of the guys who started it, but they had a series on YouTube called Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. It's basically like think like a demented like Sesame Street and Pee-wee's Playhouse with all the animatronics and stuff as little like 3 to 6 minute long song videos, and they've been gone for years, but they've been working on a TV show, and they're coming out in a couple of days in the UK, and they have a whole first series run. I think it's like 6 or 8 episodes over there. So I'm really excited for Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
So I can't even find that battery, by the way, on eBay. I can't. I found the Nyko charger. The Nyko charger is $350 if you have that Nyko.
Listen, I recently found out people sell Toys R Us batteries for $100 that are exploded. So clearly, the internet will buy anything.
I just type in PS Vita OEM battery. I don't even know what you would call that because I'm going to come up with a bunch of like insert this battery in your Vita listings. I'll just sort by most expensive and see if it shows up.
Have you guys experienced any kind of drift issues with any of your Vitas?
Not at all.
No, never.
Okay,
although,
so
oh yeah, you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say my Slim back in I think 19 Jesus Christ 2018 it was drifting, the left stick was drifting up, so I had to replace it, and I ordered a new stick for it. And keep in mind it's a white Vita, so getting the sticks were not easy. And it's most definitely a third-party one because it's discolored now. It's like brown compared to that gray, on the stock one. But when I disassembled the Vita to install it, I thought that the battery pulled out horizontally, not vertically up.
No.
And I yanked the terminal point off the battery. And I was like, there's no way to replace this. So then I had to order a new battery. Make a long story short, though, the Vita, at least the Slim, is a very easy console to repair. So it gives me faith that like as things go bad on it, as long as like some shady business in China is going to make us some half-ass parts, like I think we're gonna be good with keeping these things going for a while.
So I have something to say about that. Actually, I bought a battery.
Honestly, speaking of shady China stuff, I'm amazed almost. Well, I was gonna say I'm amazed 2 years after Sony shutting down physical cards, no one has gotten into the market of repro cards.
I know.
That would be awesome.
Like it exists for 3DS, it exists for DS. Like I'm sure it'll happen eventually, but you've got to imagine it's one of those things where it's only not a thing because of still how like tiny like that community would be to like because I don't think there's any way that they would be able to make repro carts that just work by sticking it in. I could be wrong,
right? But
like if they ever got to a point where non-homebrewed systems could have repro games, there's a huge market of people who would do stuff like that.
A factor we have to look into, though, is how big is repro in Japan? Because remember, where was the Vita the most popular? Where did it have its biggest sales?
Brazil. Brazil loved their Vita.
Oh, did they? I didn't know that.
Fun fact, look up Tadeo Jones 1 and 2. Tadeo Jones is it may not be Brazilian, it may be like a Spain or French cartoon.
Okay.
But Tadeo Jones was a very weird, exclusive 2D platformer to the system. It's based off a licensed cartoon called Tadeo Jones, which is basically just a like crappy knockoff of Indiana Jones meets like Wallace and Gromit, but it was exclusively on the Vita.
I'll have to download that one on my modded Vita.
That looks ridiculous. This literally does like Wallace and Gromit meets Indiana Jones.
Are you guys trophy people? Like, you care about your show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm 2 trophies away from my Persona 4 Gold and Platinum.
Wow.
Which literally sounds close until you realize it's probably like 900 or more hours.
Yeah.
No, I'm literally sitting at the battle with
I want you, Chris, to have like a spreadsheet of every piece of dialogue Risei says in the game that you scratch out every time you hear.
Yeah.
I have thought about creating an Excel sheet for that, but I'm like, the amount of tracking I would have to do would be insane.
Did you say gasp 1 or gasp 5? Those always sound similar to me.
You
have to like whittle.
4 is way better than 5 story wise, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Scooby-Doo all day. I'll take that on cast anytime.
I was angry to see, like, I'm not gonna like go into all of the tier lists that Gnarly put together, but I was like, really, Persona 4 is below Persona?
Here's a good question, because I always give him crap for this one. Can you? Well, not can you? Because obviously anyone can do whatever they want. Would you put a game you hadn't played? Like, would you rank a game you haven't watched? Like, similarly, like, would you rank a movie you haven't seen all the way?
No, of course not.
Probably not.
So then how about this? This is where the gray part comes in. Would you rank a game you've only played the demo of?
No.
So I always give him crap about this because he always says, like, one of the worst games Atlas has ever done is Persona 3 and 5 Dancing. And I always am like, because until a few years ago, he didn't have it. I was like, you got to play it. You can hate it, but you have to actually play it. Like, I know he will hate it. There's not any part of my brain that's like, oh, when he plays it, he'll have a coming to Christ moment. No, he'll hate it, but he needs to play it before he plays it. Like, I can't let him have the satisfaction knowing he's right without actually putting in the time and the hours into it.
Oh, man. What an existence we live. I've played both of the dancing games. I can't say that they're memorable. I liked the 4 dancing game quite a bit because there was an actual story, albeit a little weird to play in front of your family.
Yeah.
But there was a story there that had like some parts in it that were pretty good, actually, I thought. And then when you get into 3 and 5, it's just like, here's some extra social links. And you have to do like all these crazy dances to get them. It's not like it's the hardest game ever, but I was one of the dummies that actually bought the pre-ordered the $100 edition.
Oh God!
And then found out like a month later they were discounted down to like $40.
Yeah,
Chris, just imagine what life could have been like if you got the Japanese version, and your life could have been.
I had
better.
considered it because it had the Vita carts.
Yeah, so for everyone out there, and Jordan, if you didn't know, so we only had that game digitally on Vita in the West. This was Japan. This also got clearanced instantly, but it had a slot for, because I remember I got this off Amazon Japan. I swear to God, it was like $30.
Oh my God!
It was super cheap. Space for both carts, and this little book here is a 4-disc soundtrack.
Oh, that's incredible!
Japan got the way better bundle than
Japan.
Well, it was just nice too because it was the same art, but just instead of having the soundtrack and everything else, you had the Happy Meal equivalent of an art book.
Oh God!
Well, I mean, it was basically the same kind of art book that you got with 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. So it's like the same thing.
Okay.
Like the art book. Would you agree, Spencer? It's basically the same size. The 13 Sentinels versus.
Oh yeah, sorry for the Western one. No, the 13 Sentinel one is at least a little bit better. Well, in terms of build quality, it's better.
Okay, well I take it back. I hate that the book is part of the case.
Yeah, it's part of the case,
like,
and Jordan, the worst part as well. It's a 2-disc set, but they do the crappy late
Dual
era
disc.
360 thing where it's 1 disc hole for 2 games, so you just have to stack them on top of each other.
Oh God!
No, the worst offender of that ever was Lost Odyssey on the Xbox 360.
I don't know, man. I'm a hypocrite in this weird scenario.
For
2 disc and 3, it looks a little cheap. When you're up to like 4, I kind of like it. I kind of like. It's almost like obviously, I don't know. Like, I feel like the only time multi-disc sets looked good were during the CD jewel case era. DVD cases, it always looks cheap. Blu-rays, it's like, honestly, PC games that are like multi-disc CDs, I hate it. They look like, so like, have you guys ever seen what like the orange box looks like physically? It's like 9 discs you have to install.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I hate that. Like that looks awful
6
to
discs.
me.
Oh, and I've still got my handwritten cheat notes in here.
Where's my X files for PS1? I think that's 4 discs in like a double jewel case. That's a great package right there.
The only thing I think that would top it, I do have a CD in a plastic jewel case. It is a 6-disc CD set.
Oh God!
In what looks like a normal like 4-disc holder, like from that era, and it's one of those ones where
you flips over.
Yeah, you've never felt less confident that you won't break something opening that CD case, because jewel cases always feel like they're going to break at a moment's notice.
Yes.
With 4 disc in them, 6 disc, it's like a ticking time bomb. You're like, it's going to happen. It's going to explode all over me.
So I got one of the weirdest comments. This might be a good side topic here. I put a short up of myself opening up and playing Persona 4 Golden, like an opening short. I made a shorts video. It was like 55 seconds long. I took the case out, put the PS Vita cart in the PS Vita, and it showed Persona 4 Golden's intro. And somebody's comment was, what a waste of plastic it is to put a tiny cart like that in a PS Vita case and have nothing else inside of it. And I'm like, I mean, I kind of agree. It's such a waste of case, but I'd rather have something substantial with real art on it, like the Vita cases had, than, what you could have probably gotten away with, which would have been a lot smaller.
Yeah, like Jordan, you brought up an interesting thing earlier of like not having a ton of Vita games physically. Do you have any Vita games with a manual?
I do.
I don't think so. Do you?
So fun fact, because I'm going to bust out for a second time.
Great question.
Actually, if you do you still have your copy of Disney Infinity?
No. Here's the thing. I actually never owned Disney Infinity on Vita. My daughter played it, and when we were buying the figures like dirt cheap, I'm like, we got to get that Black Spider-Man. That thing's sweet. And
so
Vita
Disney Infinity was my first Vita game with a proper manual.
That has a manual.
It's a Toys to Life game with a Bluetooth base. How else are you gonna know how it all
I know.
The best part is it's full color and it's thick. It's all legalese. Not a single picture. It's all. It's just, if you count that as a picture. But I saw this and I was like, this is
how heavy is that case? It probably has some like nice.
Oh, it's not even the heaviest. There's Chris, the Undertale one's pretty nice because that's basically like a golden.
It's got an art book in it. It's not actually a manual; it's an art book, but it does fit in the case.
But I will say, if I can,
Shovel Knight has a full manual in it.
Oh, I was gonna say there's one game that.
Windjammers has a 4-page manual too. Like,
there's some sad ones. Yeah, Limited Run had some that were literally the equivalent of like putting 2 like splash text screens on there. I have where's Summon Night 6?
I got Saturday Morning RPG too. That one was fun.
What else from Limited Run Games had a manual was what's that horror game from the Sega CD?
Night Trap.
Night Trap.
Oh yeah, that one has a manual.
It had a tiny little manual in it.
Yeah, and it talks
that
about
manual is cool. I mean, I love Night Trap. I have way too many versions of that game, but like I like that manual. But that manual literally was a copy paste of the Switch one. I literally think the Vita manual says Nintendo Switch on it instead of Vita.
Oh my god!
I was surprised that even came out. Like at the time that they decided to announce that, I was shocked.
Summon Night 6, the manual for it. It is the thickest manual in terms of page count. But what's funny is. Whatever way they got Sony to print it, and this is like a legit manual. This is like those old, like you guys remember working design games from the 90s? This is that company. So it's basically a mini strategy guide in manual form.
That's awesome.
Just like the Witcher games, they always have like a mini strategy guide in them.
But the funny thing is with it, when Limited Run tried to do one that was a pretty thick manual but wasn't like the thickest, they weren't able to get Sony to do it the right way, or at least whatever way Victor Ireland bribed Sony for. So their thickest manual, if I can remember where it went, I'm forgetting whatever the order these are all in.
While he's looking, I was going to say, I just picked up a copy of Dragon Quest 13.
Here we go.
You got
you want to talk about weight to a game. Like this is back when games like had some weight to them.
Oh, Dragon Quest always has great manuals. So Cosmic Star Heroine.
I had that one for a minute. I sold it.
You sold it?
I didn't like it. No.
Cosmic Star Heroine's a weird one of like, I feel like this is a game everyone should love, but it is not everyone's cup of tea. Like it's it's a great love letter. Like, the guys who made it are like really, really talented, but like Cosmic Star Heroine is one of those weird indie Kickstarter games where like it's not bad, but it's not a game you're just going to be like, oh yeah, you're gonna love this. Because I have so many friends who it doesn't click with them.
I had that one, and I had Valhalla, and I didn't like that one either.
Oh, Valhalla's kind of slow, so I get that. So Cosmic Star Heroine, very thick, but not that thick. But if you check it out, for all the print nerds out there, it's not stapled. It's a perfect bind.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I have a video. If anybody wants to see, I have a video on Ambient Unboxing showing every page of that manual.
He ripped it open and just was like, oh, the best part, because of the Veto is not meant for perfect binds. Look at how just pressed
it messes
out
up that case. Yeah.
Wow.
the case is not meant for these.
No.
So you could buy that for about $50 right now on eBay.
I sold my copy for like $90 right when I got it.
Oh yeah,
I played it for 10
everyone
minutes.
out there, to anyone out there, if you want a limited run game outside of literally like maybe less than 10, they have over 90 plus games that go for basically what they sold them for at retail. Like, a lot of limited run games are not that expensive.
Well, I have Ocean Horn still. That was one of my favorite ones they did.
That's a great one.
Ocean Horn on the Vita is like, until it came out on the Switch, that was the way to play it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There was another one I was thinking of.
$50. Vita's.
Oh, I know we've talked about this before, but because we're talking about multi, did you guys like when games back in the day would be like, now enter disc 2 to play, or like when you would need stuff like that?
I didn't have a lot of games that needed that, to be honest with you, back in the day.
No Final Fantasy 7 for you?
I would say Final Fantasy 7 is the only
Okay, so here's the thing. I love Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, all the old school Final Fantasies pre-3D. I had them on my Game Boy. I had some on other systems. And then I never had a PlayStation until the PS3. That was my first PlayStation.
What about the game? What about the game?
Well, no, I take it back. I had a PlayStation, but I didn't buy any games for it. My uncle gave me a PlayStation when I already had a GameCube. So I had it for like a solid couple of years, and that was it.
So wait, you had a GameCube?
I had somebody on my show recently who was so out of the game loop. Their first ever PlayStation was a PS5. And I remember when they said that, I was like, imagine the amount of like just awesome dirt cheap games you now can play for the first time. I was almost like jealous of like, obviously like I've been there for all this system, but it's like if you just gave it like anyone, whether it be a kid or an adult, a PS5, just be like, here you go, here's 5 generations of games to check out. You'd be like, where do you start?
Well, if it had backwards compatibility.
Even honestly, even if it was just PS4, like that library alone is enormous. But yeah, so Chris, I don't know if I ever brought this up on the show before, but so this is the only game, and the fact that it's also in English is just as crazy. This is for one game. This is, by the way, the title is amazing. SD Gundam G Generation Genesis. So this is a strategy RPG similar to like a Gundams, Shining Force.
I almost bought a copy of that the other day.
You should, dude. They're gorgeous. Not only does it have not one, because here's the game, disc 1 and disc 2, but they're cartridges.
That's insane.
Each one has a manual. Sorry, not each one has a manual. It still has a manual, like a thick, big boy manual. And the way it works is kind of like when you get those. Has anyone here played a PS4 game that has 2 discs?
Yeah, well, I mean, technically Mass Effect Legendary Edition has multiple discs, but one's just an install disc.
So that's actually how all PS4 multi-disc for requirement things are. So Last of Us 2 and I think
that was
actually
discs,
the first
right?
one.
That was
so the Veto is actually what started that. Well, this version, like they had to do custom software just for this game because the small, like even though it's a 2D strategy RPG, it has so many art and voice assets. It's 6.5 gigs, and the highest. So there are 2 Vita card sizes, 2 gigs and 4 gigs. So everyone out there with the Switch complaining that 32 gigs is too small and we need the 64 gig cards, we went over a decade with 4 gig carts as the max. And so what's so funny about it is it works like this: you install with disc cart 2, and then play with disc cart 1. So it installs 4 gigs from cart 2, and then it gets the other 2.5 gigs from cart 1 to play the game.
So I wonder how big the install size of Persona 4 Golden was then. It had to be pretty darn close to 4.
I think it's like 3.6 or something. Like it wasn't close. There have only been a couple of cases of games And actually, one was one of the last final ones of like. It's always funny to me, like, because like I know you guys are not like probably super into like visual novels and stuff, but there was one of the final Vita games that ever got released.
Was it
called
Love or Muv-Love? I mean,
no, not Muv-Love. Although Muv-Love's technically a trilogy split across 2 games, so that would probably be over 4 gigs. But it's oh my god, it's literally like here, but I have other crap blocking the way. Let's see if I can find it if I move some random big boxes. It was. You ever just look at your collection and go, why do I have so many games?
Yeah, and then I usually go to
Golden
eBay.
is 3.5 gigabytes.
Oh, so close.
As soon as I realize I have too many games on a shelf, I start going to eBay and seeing if there's any I want to sell.
Oh my god, it was literally on the exact opposite shelf and looking at me the whole time. It was Root Double Extended Edition.
That was actually on sale at GameStop for like $12 one time for me. I could have got that for nothing.
Well, that was Switch though. That's the stinky Switch version. You don't want to play
the Vita version. They had the Vita version sitting on the shelf.
No, they did not. Your GameStop would not have that game on their store.
I'm telling you, it was.
It was probably something else you're thinking. No. Okay. See, speaking of weird visual novel bullshit, because yeah, these are all going to blend the same in your head. Christopher, I'm being my Tony Soprano Christopher voice there. Christopher, you're thinking of Root Letter.
They definitely had that
Letter
one too.
is a visual novel that got a release over here, but no, Root Double Root Double. That was, and this is so painful. The digital version of the game, because it was like one of those like super long in development Kickstarter games. Mm-hmm. It was 4.1 gigs, so they could never do it like physically. In Japan as well, Japan never had it. English never had it. And so for this English release, they got to have happen because I played a really, really tiny part in getting it to happen. They literally were like, can you just compress it 100 mega? Like it's like like make something crunchy. Just give something a like Dreamcast asset or whatever. So like I remember it was just so funny because like you're so close. It's like have the game live on in prosperity forever, or live with the extra 100 megabytes haunting you or whatever with it. So that was what I was really glad to have happen for it. But yeah, if you couldn't tell, Jordan and everyone else. This is my like comic book guy system where like I can't just like let something hang for it. Like it's like I have almost every little stupid iota of dumb fun facts in history in my brain with it because it's such a weird system of like because like when people ask like, hey, what's the Vita like? I think in terms of legacy, because I got to go back like 9 hours. I think a big one people always come up with is the Dreamcast. Of like, it's got a lot of really solid first-party titles, and pretty much was just supported by the fans. But like, I would say like, I think even once we get further down in the like line, like this thing was dead after like 3 years in terms of the public consensus.
Yeah,
it literally took Sony over a decade to finally shut it down for good because people just kept pumping out games for it. Like it was the system that wouldn't die. It was crazy.
What's funny is I had a Wii U and a Vita at the same time. I pretty much got them in the same 365-day calendar year, the Wii U and the Vita. And it was funny how strong of a fan base there were for both of those systems.
Okay, let's be Jordan. Maybe you could be the tiebreaker here. Were there as many Wii U fans as Vita? Because I feel like
the die-heartedness, the die-hard Wii U fans.
I don't know. I feel like you could replace the word die-hard Wii U with just die-hard Nintendo fan. I don't think like there are fans of the Vita who don't care about Sony. I've never met a die-hard Wii U fan who just also loves everything else Nintendo does.
Yeah, this one guy I worked with, he loved the Wii U, but at the same time, he was just a die-hard Nintendo fan. Like day one Switch with Breath of the Wild, like it was like a religious like event, you know.
Nothing by the way made you seem like more of a hipster douchebag in 2017 than saying no, I'm gonna play Breath of the Wild where it was designed on the Wii U. The Switch versions, that's
yeah.
No, come on, Chris. Even in your heart you had to know you're playing the like nothing is more insulting to Breath of the Wild on Wii U than the fact that its touchpad does nothing. Its
that is
touchpad
sad.
functionality is the worst.
Well, you know, they actually ripped that out of the game. It was there.
Because, I mean, to be fair, that's like the most Nintendo thing ever of like, hey, we designed a lot of really interesting things to use with this touchpad because that was the point of this system exclusive. What should we do for this port on a system that doesn't have a touchpad? Just rip it out of both versions. Why not?
What system did it run better on?
There's like pros and cons on both, actually.
I think like the only port of like prosperity that the Wii U version had for many years was it was the place to play. It was the place to play Breath of the Wild mods on for a really long time.
Okay.
That's true because it had it was the system that was jailbroken that Nintendo did not care about one bit. Like people could put mods on there and Nintendo couldn't care less.
Like I have a Wii U. Don't get me wrong. Like it is what it is.
It's a great system. Like seriously,
Tokyo Mirage Sessions is better on there.
I wasn't even gonna give like that. I'm just meaning like honest to God. Like even things like that port of Wind Waker is the best way to play that game. 100%. Like I cannot imagine going back to the GameCube version.
That's
the controller layout is stupid. Having your analog sticks placed where they are.
Listen, you both are Steam Deck owners. You can't say that anymore. You've got fucking Wii U tablets that are just painted black next to you now.
Okay.
No, the Wii U came in black too.
Well, true, but like when I saw the Steam Deck layout, I was like, "That's a Wii U."
Fine, you know what? I will show you Wii U and Steam Deck in the same frame.
Oh man, because what's funny because if anyone here is listening hasn't held one, the Steam Deck is a chunky boy, but like on the opposite effect, I always hated how hollow the Wii U pad felt because that just felt like it had nothing in it,
Yeah,
I think it's kind of hefty. It's kind of a hefty boy. It doesn't feel.
You're holding literally a system 5 times heavier in your left hand right now, Christopher. You can't tell me it's heavy.
This doesn't feel light.
I mean, by comparison to the Steam Deck, it doesn't feel light.
I could play Breath of the Wild portably on this in my living room.
I could play Breath of the Wild on this too.
Speaking of weird fan mods, did you all ever see someone ripped out the guts of a Wii U gamepad but kept the screen and just shoved a Switch emulator in there? I was like, what a nightmare system that is. I'm just like, hey, I hate the Joy-Con so much, but I love the Wii U gamepad setup, so let's just play like this.
So speaking of ripping guts out of one thing and putting it in another, this is a little less of that, but kind of in the same vein. Did you know that Vita 3K has hit a stable version on Linux that can run on the Steam Deck now?
Yes, I watched a video of it. Yep.
So now you can play.
While I was I'm very all up to date on everything Vita and know way more than any normal human being should. Because my backlog on the system is so disgusting, it's the one spot I just have no experience and I probably will never mod a Vita. I love following it. It's so cool to see the stuff like when I saw ports of San Andreas and Vice City on there, I'm like, that's cool. But it's the custom stuff I've seen that's insane. The fact that people have made Cuphead run on the Vita is insane.
Is that a thing?
Cuphead is playable in they've made a custom Vita version.
Native Cuphead version. Wow, that's insane.
Sick. And it runs legitimately well, which is the craziest part. So it's one of those funny ones of I'm always impressed when I see stuff about it, but it's that thing of just because my backlog is so big, it's do you know what that would do to me? Of because even honestly,
because you can increase your backlog.
Well, it's not even that, but it's another big one of why I was so much into physical. I always had a big backlog of digital stuff.
Yeah,
and that's why I always was if we're thinking backlogs in terms of everything, it's untouchable basically. But for me, owning it physically was a nice way of being I picked it up, I've played it, I beat it, I put it back on the shelf. It's kind of marking it off my list.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's digital, it's you're never over. It'll never be done.
No, that's true.
I agree with that.
Did you guys panic when the store was going to go down, but then it didn't go down? And
I almost panicked, bought a bunch of stuff.
Did you?
I almost did, yeah.
According to the YouTube algorithm, I clearly should have made panic videos because all I fucking saw on YouTube for the next 6 months were, here's the top 10 hidden gems you must buy on the PlayStation Vita. And blah, blah, blah.
I made one or two about how awful it was they were doing that.
Yeah, true. But It was a weird one for me, Jordan, of like, because at that point they had shut down making physical games. So there obviously were some physical games that haven't been put out yet, like the Nakala stuff. Still waiting on that final limited run version. So now I'll just email the Embracer Group to get me a copy. The Embracer Group will now be responsible for publishing one of the last PlayStation Vita games. What a weird thing that is to think about.
It makes perfect sense.
It's true. Well, remember there's the completion game, Revenge of the Bird King. They still haven't shipped out copies.
They still have to do that?
They haven't even started it. I like every now and then I'll poke Josh and they're like, we're not commenting on this thing that we all know is happening and copies are out there, but it's like whatever. As long as I don't die before it's on my collection, I'll be fine. But yeah, the weird thing with it has been like outside. Like I made a list when the store was going to be shut down of like, here's all the digital only games I know I want to buy just to support. Because there are a few edge cases of like, I know one of them I still need to get. I need to get Adventures of Mana. So the first Final Fantasy Adventure, the game on Game Boy, they remade that only on Vita.
Yeah.
And it's actually a pretty good port. I have Secret of Mana, that version. Like, I feel like everyone always forget that Secret of Mana came out like the remake kind of. I mean, it is, I guess, a remake for it. But that PS4 remake, I feel like everyone forgot also came out on Vita.
Because it was digital only.
In America, there's a physical in Japan.
I know there's a physical in Japan, but it's Japan. I was so close to buying that, and then I found out there's no way to get the English release. Kind of like Catherine.
That was a weird one of like Square Enix would be really hit or miss with that sometimes. Of like that game had English for many years. Like that was a worldwide release in English in other territories, and it was like, yeah, sometimes they'll just leave it out for whatever reason. But then other games, like a great example is I forget because we literally just talked about this. Are either of you guys Final Fantasy X fans?
No, never got into it.
I almost bought that so many times because on the Asian English release they had both on carts.
How dare you steal my thunder, Christopher? So the best part is in the West. By the way, because you mentioned Jordan, how bad of an HD collection God of War is. No joke. Even though this wasn't even done by Square Enix, Final Fantasy X and X-2. Is the best HD collection on the system.
That's
because
what I hear.
It is just a native up-resed port, and it looks awesome, and it has exclusive features. But the one thing we didn't get was, in the West, everywhere, it was 10 on the cart, 2 was a download code.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the funniest thing is, in Japan, like Chris said, you could get a physical copy, and in Asia, they had English copies with everything on there. But what's funny about it is I ended up buying a second copy of Final Fantasy X because these games were meant to be bought together. Yep. Because like they look cool on their own in terms of clean, but you literally can put them right next to each other, and it looks
that's awesome.
So nice.
That's very cool. It's funny now that like I brought that up, and the question from earlier about what's the most expensive Vita thing you ever bought. When they said they were going to shut the store down, I had all of my like PS Plus free games. Like that's my digital collection was mostly just stuff from PS Plus.
The system was worth owning if you were just a PlayStation Plus subscriber alone. Like they included almost every AAA game you would ever want to own.
Yeah. Well, at that point though, when they put them on there, I'd already purchased them physically. But I ordered from Japan a 64 gig memory card, and you talk about
those
the
are
most
so
expensive thing, most over.
That is true. What are those even go for now?
At the time, I think I paid like $109.
That was retail. You paid retail then for it.
Yeah, but still, 64 gig memory card for $109.
You're paying $2 a gig.
What year is this? I just
they're like 150 now, aren't they?
I don't even.
I think seriously on Play Asia, like obviously Play Asia, like when they have really rare items, like I think Play Asia has a 64 gig card for like almost $500.
I got mine from Play Asia.
The biggest thing with the 64 gig cards, and Spencer, correct me if I'm wrong, but let me finish this tangent. Aren't they only available in Japan? And then on top of that, they're the most failed of all the cards.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Yep, they have a one. I think there's never been an official thing. So Jordan, if yours has never died, don't worry.
Okay.
So it has a 1 in 10 chance of one day you turn it on. After, like obviously it's after extended use. It's not like it's going to happen from 1 minute or 10 years later.
Yeah.
Like normally after a couple hours of use, the card will have an error and reformat everything, and it will wipe the system free of everything that was on there. So if you didn't have anything uploaded or saved on there or anything like your trophy data, all that's wiped. Yeah. So once that happens with that card, it will just keep happening with that card. But the only saving grace is if it's a used card and it's never had that issue, and you know that for sure, you don't have to worry about it. Thankfully, it looks like 64 gig prices used have gone down considerably. So literally on eBay, there is someone right now, free shipping, $110. I would still say that's 100% worth it. Like, it's as long as you know if it works, it's great because, please tell me you didn't just take it out of your system.
My battery's dead on it. I'm not.
Okay, good. Because remember the thing with it: if you take it out of the system while it's on, it's like, buddy, we got to reformat this. What have you done?
No. This one's been on my shelf for a while.
So yeah. I would say don't worry about it for everyone out there who has one of like it's thankfully not like a yellow light of death or like a red light of death of like where it's going to brick eventually. But Chris, it is such a weird thing of that never happened to any other size.
That's the only reason I got 32 gig cards instead. That's the only
because they're foolproof. Like you'll never have to worry about that. But it is funny of like Sony never commented on it. But the closest I ever got is I had a friend who worked in QA, and even from the Western side, they had a couple of them come in through their repair program, and the only explanation they ever had for it was the cards weren't the problem. The system was literally never designed to have that much memory stored at once.
Okay.
He described it to me. It would be the equivalent of giving a terabyte hard disk drive to a Windows Vista computer. It just wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So it was less of a hardware issue and more of like a Y2K thing of like, okay, this might make the system blow up.
That's too funny. So if you've got it working in a system, basically what you're saying is don't switch systems with that card.
Yeah, and that was always one of the big ones of like, we can always go into complaints, but like weird complaints I always wondered why you didn't hear more of is if you're someone like me who I have European accounts, I have Australian accounts, I have Japanese accounts, I have
you can't have multiple region accounts
it's
on one system.
One account per memory card per system. Yep. So literally one of the reasons I have multiple Vitas is it is easier to just have a second system for one region than to swap them around.
I do have a European region account. It's located at a specific GameStop in like London. That's the address I put in there, and it accepted it. So I do have a European PlayStation account, specifically so I could get the infamous Second Son DLC, Cole's Legacy, for the $5.
Christopher,
and now it's free.
CHRILLCAST, Crilly. I forgot. My intro was actually going to be I had a present for you today.
It's free. Yeah, I know. I saw it.
No. I have new presents for you. As of this week, did you know there was new Infamous related DLC released?
What?
For real.
For
Prepare
what?
to have your socks and or britches blown off. Infamous First Light had an exclusive costume, the DUP Fetch costume, that you could only get if you pre-ordered the game, and was never available post-launch, never offered any other way. And because it was mostly a digital-only pre-order bonus, that was never available at retail or like in-store bonus codes, you had to have just had it as that digital pre-order. Insomniac finally put the infamous First Light dupe costume for free on the PlayStation Store this week.
That's awesome, because I knew the Cole's Legacy was coming, and I knew the Cole's jacket was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that was coming. I'm going to look that one up.
Yeah.
We need to have a serious conversation. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and to everyone out there, because most people remember Second Son. First Light is the better Infamous game on PS4, so definitely play it. Definitely play that. At least compared to like better protagonist, at least for sure.
There's more of a personality there, that's for sure.
Personality. That's just Troy Baker jerking around. Man, we got to do that Infamous spoiler cast one of these days of just talking about. Like,
I would love to chat with all the Infamous games. Infamous 1, the Platinum has eluded me so far. I got to get all the stupid sparks or whatever.
You're gonna break
there
a
is
DualShock
2 trophies.
L3
I
button.
gave up on Infamous 1. I platinum Infamous 2 and Second Son, but Infamous 1 I gave up with 2 trophies.
I also the equivalent of platinuming infamous. What is it? The
Festival of Blood.
Festival of Blood.
You gotta get that gold trophy for that all 10 of
God,
those.
that was so stupid. But that was the game was great, but it was a stupid trophy system on that one. Do you know my PS3 shut off on me 3 times while I was playing that game?
It was trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh no, I was just saying we should have a conversation these days about
just Infamous, right?
Well, not just Infamous. Just like I feel like Sony's abandoning franchises that really matter to like fans.
Oh, Jordan, just get ready. It's gonna get worse because like,
what 10 live service games coming? You know, from Sony.
Exactly. Like, it's that thing of like there is like maybe a 20% chance any of those 10 live service games are from IPs you care about. They will just be, and if they are, it's going to be like the most because none of their IPs from their
Halo Infinite.
Well, no, dude, not even that. It's like it's one of those things where like they are just going to be throwing games to the wall and seeing what sticks, like just like they did with Destruction All Stars. Of like Destruction All Stars could have basically been Twisted Metal, but guess what? It also is a follow up to Destruction Derby. So it's like one of those things of like. They are going to try and get a Fortnite if it kills them, but they're not going to lose a Last of Us in the process. Like they're not going to throw a Twisted Metal is probably going to end up being one of those live service games. So that's probably not a fair comparison. But like their recent stuff, like
I have said this from the get go. The best thing that they could do to have a live service game is remake like the Infamous world with all the superpowers and have like a superpower.
Are you sad that Infamous game on Vita, to bring it back, there was going to be an exclusive Infamous game by Sony Bend, the Days Gone guys and the Golden Abyss team on the system, and then Sony killed it.
Yep.
There was that one, and I was also sad about the BioShock one.
The BioShock one I'm less sad about. Like the concept was cool, but literally nothing was ever made. At least the Infamous game on Vita there was a build of that game out there. I've seen that game running.
Sony Bend, they
are they
Listen, you've got to give them credit though for all the people who left rightfully pissed off of how Sony treated that game. The fact that they still show up to like, I'm excited for whatever their next project must be, because for them to still be as excited about PlayStation as a brand after all of that, like I think Sony at least must know that they did them dirty. Like, and it was too late to do a Days Gone 2, but it is just really fun. Like, I've never been guilted from a game sequel being canceled than I have with Days Gone. Of like, I remember Days Gone was one of like, it didn't release at a great time for me. I was playing a bunch of other stuff or things were happening in my life, but when Days Gone 2 on all that stuff came out about the idea for it and it getting canceled and the director's leaving, I literally bought the like collector's edition that day of the first one of like, okay, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to play this and I'm going to check it out because it's like the only major PS4 like exclusive I never checked out. And like when I played it, I was like, this is great. Like, I've never known anyone who like enjoys those kind of games who played it and was like, oh, it's whatever. It was just one of those things.
Is like, Days Gone more like a Dead Island or Dead Rising or like
I would say
because I've never checked it out.
It's very much a PlayStation game.
Well, it's weird. It's like it's not a Last of Us clone. It's not Horizon. Right. It's doing its own thing. It's almost kind of like it's taking like a midge-modge of like it's big like Far Cry, but it's not a Ubisoft ticker box thing for everything. There's not a bajillion things to do. It's very story heavy, but it's never taking itself too seriously. The gameplay is really fun. Like the gameplay when you're doing like hordes of zombies is very Dead Rising, but that's never the main focus. Like honestly, your first horde takes you forever to get to in the game. So it's a lot of different things where it's like it's not instantly comparable to like one of the other ones out there, which I think almost kind of makes it a little bit trickier. But it's like, hey, if you like these kind of open world games, or even like, honestly, I knew someone who bought it just because they like bikes. Like, I want a game that lets me ride around on a bike. There's not a lot of those that don't suck.
Hey, you can ride a bike in Dead Rising. That exists.
True. My go-to, ironically, was Death Stranding. That's a good biker game.
Oh God. I mean, look, in my opinion, Golden Abyss was better than the first Uncharted.
I would agree.
One of the most underrated Uncharted games. Actually, funnily enough, because Jordan, you mentioned earlier games that didn't get ported and didn't make any sense. I cannot believe there is still no port of Golden Abyss.
I know.
It is and there's a funny story of Blue Point wanted to do it for the Nathan Drake collection, and Sony was like, "Yeah, you don't gotta. It's fine."
Well, like Gravity Rush. Look at Gravity Rush sold better on the PS4 than on the PS Vita.
Yeah,
and now they're getting a TV show, I think, right?
I think that almost might just be more due to the fact that it was around longer on a system of more, as opposed to like it sold well on Vita, like not in the West, but in Japan it did pretty good.
I just feel like porting Golden Abyss, they would have to like make some serious changes to that engine because the game was really designed.
Because it used the back touchpad.
Yeah, it was really designed to be a tech demo for the.
Oh, come on! You bring up the back touchpad first. It was one of the 5 games that used the light sensor in the camera.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, so it's just all those little things, but it still was. Oh my god! I remember when I got my Vita, I had that game platinum in 8 days. I started it.
That's impressive because Golden Abyss is like low key the second longest game on the system.
Yeah, it's 30. It's like 32 or 36 chapters for an Uncharted game. When Uncharted's typically around 18 chapters.
Oh, I couldn't believe how long that was.
Yeah, but yeah, I did not stop playing that game. Like 3 playthroughs, including like going back to find out like the treasures. Like pretty much like 3 playthroughs.
I have one last question for you guys. And then we can roll into some like whatever we haven't covered that you guys still want to talk about, or if we want to end it there, that's fine too. What is your holy grail item for the Vita or PS TV that you don't have? Because I know Spencer's got a lot of them that you still want, that you may never get.
It's not that special because technically I have it without the art on it, but I want the Persona 4 Vita. It's the exact same Vita I have, except it has all the Persona graphics on the back of it.
I think Spencer has that one, don't you?
Let me tell you, is it within arm's reach? I think it is. Let me tell you, Jordan, that one is. I weirdly shout out to another like small YouTube channel that like I'm sad I don't live there anymore because like if they were, I would be bonding with them much harder. I found this channel in Phoenix called like My JRPG Life. It's like this couple who literally just collects 3DS games and a bunch of other like random things for it. But they found at Game On Expo in Phoenix the Persona 4 Vita system, and I think they ended up picking up for like $250 or something like that for it. And it was used without the box, but it was still in pretty good condition. And it was funny because there was a comment they made that was like, "Hey, it's in good condition. I'm sad there's no box, but hey, it's just a box. I'm sure we'll be fine." And I'm going to try and look and pull it out for it. The box it comes in is insane. I know. It's very amazing. Nice and premium.
So I should emphasize that then. I would want it complete in box. Like that's the way.
Because also the best part about that box, it comes with the Japanese collector's edition in the box.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's got like a little slot for it. I swear I'm going to like look at this thing. It's literally looking at me fucking right there. I'm like, where is this thing? It's next to like my 9 3DSs. I bought this at the cool retail price. Thank God the yen was getting its ass beat at the time. So it's still in its protective little sleeve. And when you slide it out, this is the box. The yellow, this is all die cut out. That yellow is part of the box in there.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, this was one that I was glad was not super expensive for a really long time. But even at whatever price it goes for now, so yeah, when you open it up, let's see however I can do this. Slide it out. And then the first thing you see is the collector's edition for the box.
That's so cool. Now I gotta get back over to eBay and just look out of curiosity.
But yeah, mine is thankfully still minty fresh. I'm not sure how many of them are out there, but like Japan has so many Vitas that were printed for everything that like they're not rare. It just might be one of those things that it's rare to find on Western auction sites.
Yeah.
Like I'm just waiting for the day as soon as like thank God Japan's finally opening up their borders. I have so many Japanese exclusive physical games that are dirt cheap that I'm not going to buy until I'm just going to fly over to Japan for like some actual good reason, but I'm just going to like have a suitcase that's just Vita exclusives.
So there's actually 2 things that I'm looking for. One of them is Vita related. One of them is not Vita related. But I'm going to do the Vita related one first. Spencer, you may remember that I brought this up before, and I found them on eBay once or twice. Let's see if I can find it again.
Oh, Chris, I already got it right here for you. You were looking for Sayonara Umehari Kawase ++. Wasn't that it?
No, I found the listing right here. I'm going to show it to you. It's by a company called Game Tech. It's actually a Vita TV accessory.
Oh yeah, you showed me this.
Deca Vita 7.
Oh yeah.
I remember you were like telling me that, like, Spencer, I know something about the Vita you don't. It was this thing, and I was like, you are correct, sir. I don't know about the Deca Vita.
So this actually slides in a PS TV on the back, has a built-in battery, and can run the Vita TV on that big 7-inch screen. It's actually technically the biggest portable screen for a Vita you can get, unless you were to make like your own thing. This is like almost licensed, I think, if I remember correctly. It could have been licensed if they would have built more of them. But this thing is amazing. And I've only seen like 3 videos of this on all of YouTube. Yeah. And it will play any other system too. So you can like plug an Xbox One into it. I think it can technically run the controllers for a PS3 or a PS4 if you plugged in the USB. So it's legitimately one of the coolest stupid things that I've always wanted. They were like $250 when they launched, and I could never find one that was available. And then by the time I found the site where they were being sold, like gametech.jp.co or something like that, they were sold out and they were not making any more batches. But this is something I have always wanted. If this YouTube channel thing ever worked out where I had tons of money, I would just buy this. And then
that's called Scott the Woz cash. You look at some of the shit Scott the Woz buys, you're like, there's no one's been like, be careful there, buddy. You're buying a lot of dumb bullshit. I would be doing the exact same thing.
By the way, Chris,
top of my list.
You know, you live closer to Scott than you do to me.
Yeah, I've been to some of the locations he's been at, and I think I've even seen him once or twice.
Really?
I've been to that Dollar General.
No, like early on in his YouTube career, before he was like super famous, he would frequent the same game store chain that I did. And the one that he filmed and did a video, like, you can get this many games for $60. You know, he got an original Xbox, Halo 2.
Which game store was that? I'm forgetting.
Which Just Replay?
It's Media Replay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He frequented one that I actually had been to many times, and I'd seen him there once or twice. But yeah, I actually know I've had conversations with the current. There used to be 2 owners of that chain. They're down to 1 now. I think one of them had, rest in peace, passed away. But I've talked to the owners before. They're pretty cool people. So yeah. Anyways, long story short, if I had stupid money to blow on stupid things, I would buy the Deca Vita 7, and I would check the heck out of that. And then I'd whitelist my Vita TV so I could play everything on it. But this thing is like one of my. If I could get it, I would. And the other thing is, I've only seen it listed online one time on Japanese Yahoo auctions, which if you don't know, Yahoo auctions in Japan is like bigger than eBay.
Yep.
Yeah. So anybody that doesn't know that, you can literally go to Yahoo auctions and find Japanese things you'd never find anywhere else. There was a big box PC version of Revelations Persona, Megami Ibaraku Persona, on I think it was Windows 98.
Oh my god!
And I want that. It has a Igor trading card in it.
Wow.
So whenever anyone says why wasn't Persona on PC longer, it's like, listen, you guys didn't buy the PC Windows 98 version of it only in Japan. I don't know what your problem is. You didn't show up for the party.
I have only seen one. I've managed to find a downloadable file of it and load it up on PC just to try it, see if it works.
So
it does.
You know, there's 2 versions of that, right?
Yeah, there was 2 different big box PC releases. Yeah, I do.
Well, there's a big box version, then there's kind of like a normal, kind of a little bit smaller, like not a tiny like.
I would display that on my shelf if I ever got the big box PC version. That would be
the big box one is nice, but I will say, maybe it's like because I only literally have like less than 10 big box PC games in my current collection. I'm always like, God, these things are big. It's like Jesus, but that's back when they came with things. They actually had things in there.
Yeah. And it has an Igor trading card, a bunch of other cool stuff in there. But there used to be a video of somebody unboxing on YouTube, and unfortunately, that video is gone now. I don't know what happened to the YouTuber.
Clearly, Daddy Atlas in Japan is going to release it this week on Steam, so that's why they took it down. They didn't want anyone getting the SEO confused.
Right.
So I actually, when I almost bought it, it was only running, I think, $75. So I was like bidding somebody out, and I was heading somewhere, and I would not be able to get my phone out during what I was doing. So I put my highest bid. It was like, I think I put like $79.99. Like, I was like, nobody's going to bid higher than this. It's only sitting at $50. I was like, there's no way. And I got out of the event I was at, and I looked down at my phone. You've been outbid. Bidding has ended. I was like, no.
That hurts, man. Especially when it's so doable. That hurts.
I would have
even
went
more.
$5 more. I would have done that.
Have you ever have any of you guys ever lost a bid so close you messaged them just to be like, can you just not ship it to them and I'll pay more?
Yeah.
Like you're that desperate.
You're like Craigslisting it. No, that happened to me one time. So I was trying to get the Starfarers of Catan board game. I know this is kind of a side story again, but I have it now. But there's a original big box of the board game, and then there's the 5 to 6 player expansion pack. And I was bidding on both, one of each. And I was going back and forth. And I think the guy who was trying to outbid me was doing the same thing. He's going between both auctions. Well, come to find out, at the very end, I won the expansion and he won the base game. And so
you're both going to be miserable forever.
I was showing up in my house. I was like, oh, shoot. So then I had to go find another listing. But the good thing about that was the expansion was going for way more money than the base games. Like normally those expansion packs back when I bought it were like listed $300+. I got it for like $75. And the base game was going for 100 to 150 range. I managed to get that for about 120. I went to just a buy it now auction. But anyways, it was just so funny. Me and him were probably both bidding this expansion and base game listings up. And then I won the expansion and he won the base game. I was so angry. I was like, I just wanted both. Why do I have to deal with this now? Anyways, that's my story about that. But yeah, this is the stupid thing I want. Dega Vita 7. What about you, Spencer? Is there anything that you're missing from the collection you have right now?
I'm not gonna say the obvious stuff of like this game that's out. Like I could say like the Nikala stuff because that's like boring. I'm like, if I really wanted to just like sink myself into like debt, I could get them right away. But I'm like, I know it's coming, so I can wait. Stuff that's like really hard is a tough one.
Well, would you buy a Dega Vita 7 if they were not like $750?
No, it's like it's a weird thing of like kind of like I almost like view that sort of like similar to like a Steam Deck when I played it. Like this is cool tech. I'm not the market for it.
Okay, that's more of a me thing, maybe even a Jordan thing.
Yeah, no, I would definitely love it because I'm telling you right now, playing Persona 4 Golden on the Steam Deck, it's like it's where it belongs.
Except for the weird voice acting issues I've run into.
I guess I haven't gone that far yet.
Well, Persona 5 Strikers has it now. 4 Golden had it originally, and then they fixed it. And now Persona 5 Strikers, every cutscene, everything plays except the voice acting.
Oh, weird.
It's like all the sound effects play, all the music
things
plays.
I'm so glad to never ever think about.
And then the mouths are moving and nobody talks at all. Like no voices are coming out. You see the captions and like the expressions are there and there's no voice acting. It's the weirdest freaking thing ever. Anyways, long story short.
They fixed that in the PC version?
In the PC version of Persona 4 Golden, it's fixed.
Okay, so
in the PC version of Persona 5 Strikers, it's still broken.
Not. Okay, good to know.
Spencer. I would say, for me, it's a bit of a cheat answer, but I have some specifics. There's a couple limited edition Vitas that came out in Japan that I know aren't crazy rare, but they're just so up my alley enough that I really need to get them. Ironically, not the Final Fantasy X one. I like that game. Like I love Final Fantasy X. It's literally the back touchpad with a JPEG of the game.
Okay.
Like that's all it is. So it's like that never really did anything for me. But they did one for World of Final Fantasy. They had two. There was a white version and a black version with two different designs on it. I really, really liked those two. And then this one's so weird that like I'd have to get it because no other game was this stupid to do with a new IP and a Vita exclusive at the same time. In Japan, the Caligula effect was a Vita exclusive over there. We eventually got it over here, but it's digital only. It's a game made by a lot of the old original Persona 1 team.
Yep.
And
I definitely know that game.
In Japan, there were not one, not two, but 4 limited edition Vita systems just for that game. That's all with different designs. And I've always wanted to own them, but it's like it's so much like releasing 4 limited edition systems to a new IP on the Vita in 2017. It's like you don't need to do this. It's probably not the most wise idea. But yeah, there's just so many cool little like system bundles out there. Like honestly, the other fun ones out there, even though like it's not a big one, I loved that the Vita got system bundles of games it never had. So there's a Final Fantasy 14 Vita bundle and a PS Vita, because most people didn't know in Japan, Vita TV actually had limited edition versions released.
Really?
There's a Yakuza 0 version, even though Yakuza 0 is not on the system.
Right.
There's a Danganronpa version. There's a whole bunch of like limited edition, cool colors. There's designs on the system. It's a really cool like little thing they had on there. But yeah, like the fact that Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, not on PlayStation Vita, had a Final Fantasy 14 Vita, I find so funny to me.
We're trying to find this Yakuza PS TV now, or is it probably Vita TV is the branding, right?
Yes, it'd be Vita TV because Japan.
Yakuza.
I did a video years ago about like the best looking limited edition Vitas, and I can't remember what the hell I talked about in that video. It's been so long.
What in the world?
Oh, you found it?
Which one did you find?
The Yakuza one.
Can you
I
share
told
it?
you.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Dude, that is
by the way,
strange.
because it is just Kazuma's like tattoos. Because it is just Kiryu's tattoos. How awesome does that look?
It
looks great.
And then if you click above, I think
there's the Veto one too. Yeah,
it's so nice because it's got the clan where the touchpads would be. Like seriously, the system was so like the Switch is just now getting to this point. Like the Vita
finally.
really had it nailed down of like let's get some weird ass limited editions.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange ones, and even just the color schemes of the Vitas were way cooler than anything the Switch has had so far.
Oh God, yes. I
Like,
still
there's so
want
many good
I want a burnt orange Vita.
Burnt orange.
Yeah, I don't know why. I love that color.
At least you didn't say spice orange. That's how I know you're not a Nintendo fan.
Did you?
Oh God, no.
There's one last thing I just remembered that we should talk about before we end this podcast, and I'm probably going to clip this into a Krill Clips thing. Did you guys hear that Sony is going to be doing a new Xperia event? And there's a lot of people saying that there's likely going to be an Xperia Play 2. But I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory on that one. I think it's just going to be essentially a phone that's built for remote play for the PS5.
I can at least say this. I know it's not another dedicated handheld. So I think that's for sure possible. Sony's just been doing so many.
Well, they did the Backbone branding recently too.
Yeah, they partnered with Backbone. I think that they are going to try to push their PS Plus premium service because you can play all those games via cloud.
Yep.
And I think that they really want to push cloud gaming. I'm not okay with that. I don't think we don't have the infrastructure to push that yet. You know, like, yeah, my 5G on my phone is really awesome, but like, it's not everywhere. You know, it's one of those things where
I don't got your 5G.
No, you don't.
No,
but to just finish up the thing, I think Sony's just going to give us essentially, like they're going to hand you essentially something that looks like this, except with DualShock sticks with a screen that can remote play, and that's it. And it'll be cheap, like $100.
Did you guys ever have an original Xperia Play?
No, I didn't.
They were nice. I liked them actually more than the PSP Go. They were a nice little system.
I used to sell cell phones at Costco, and that was one of the ones we sold.
But I think that's what I think
that would be its own episode of questions. I think
it could be Xperia Play 2. Yeah. I think it'll be the Xperia Play 2 or the Xperia Go. Maybe it'll be the Xperia Go.
Oh, and they would not bring the Go title back. Also, I do want to.
That could be it.
I do want to point this out because, Jordan, you brought up an interesting thing, and I've not had people correct this, but I did some digging, and I thought this was interesting. The Sony Backbone, like the PlayStation branded Backbone. Interesting thing about that, because they do advertise it as being designed with the assistance of the PlayStation. From everyone I've had involved over licensing that I know, like personally, Backbone basically did this. Hey, we have a marketing deal with Xbox on our Backbone. Like that, we have a little thing going on with this. Would you like us to make a PlayStation branded like Backbone? PlayStation said, sure, give us money to license it, and we will license it to you. So PlayStation basically got paid for them to make a white version of the Backbone, because if you notice, there's a couple things like even though there's like some of the buttons are changed, like the square and the options button and stuff like that, the sticks aren't changed.
No,
PlayStation had no design work in any of it. They just basically got the rights to use their symbols. So like, I thought it was very funny because it's like, honestly, the easiest way to tell if Sony's making something, when you hold it, like the backbone's fine. Like it's a fine quality. I don't know if it's $100 worth it.
Yeah.
But it is one of those funny ones of like, I bet that like if if this does end up happening with it, like Sony does something similar, it is more of a like, hey, this feels like a Sony product because like the backbone doesn't really feel like so. Because like I always thought it was so funny when the PlayStation branded backbone came out, people were like, Sony is giving up on handheld. This is their future. It's like this isn't even them. Like this is just like some random other. I mean, not random, but it's like it's another company.
Like look at the D-pad.
Well, and they wouldn't have the sticks. They wouldn't have the sticks the range that way if it was Sony. But here's the thing. I think what could happen
because like it's the whole thing. Like even look at the PlayStation Pro controller coming out soon.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry. You go. I was just saying with the PlayStation, with the DualSense Pro controller, great example. Unlike the Elite controller, you don't switch those sticks.
Nope.
They are very adamant about how their PlayStation controllers are lined up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, like when they're making their things for it, like they have a way they want their systems to be laid out.
What is that?
I think it's like the black bundle one with it.
No, this is
that's a different one. There are so many of these things out there.
Huh.
I have the other one. Who the hell makes it?
Is it the keyboard one? There's like a Kenshin or like a Kishi or something.
Yeah, the Kishi, the Razer.
The Kishi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This looks pretty nice though. I like that look.
The Xbox button awkwardly smushed on the right. I don't like aesthetically, but it is nice that it's there.
You know what's funny? Oh, no, go ahead.
I have the SteelSeries Nimbus Plus for the iPhone. I also have the Rotor Riot. Rotor Riot is a direct lightning connection, just like the backbone. Mm-hmm. It's actually super nice. And the version on Amazon now has pass-through charging. One of the beta ones, I got into their beta they had on Amazon. It was $35. Didn't have the pass-through charging, which I would have liked. But then the Nimbus Plus, the SteelSeries Nimbus Plus, is basically the same thing as the Stratus for Android, but it is super nice. It's got the clickiest D-pad I've ever used, and I love it. It's my favorite wireless controller, and it only works on iPhones well. That's pretty much it.
Is it more clicky than the Series X D-pad?
By far. Like no.
That is one of the clickiest D-pads I've ever seen in my life. Is that little circle.
If you ever get a chance to, in fact, Jordan, if we do meet up, I'll bring it with me so you can try it.
Okay.
It's my favorite controller I have ever used for the D-pad.
I'm excited for you to see their new limited edition revision 2 that's only Rings of Power branded. I really think you'll dig it.
I just want my D-pad to be a ring instead.
Exactly. Yeah. Funny controller story. When I was back in January, when I was sick in bed with the coup for COVIDs or whatever you want to call it at this point.
The covert operation. The covert operation.
I was playing Miles Morales, going for that platinum. Remote played to my iPad with an Xbox controller.
I did that opposite way. I played Halo Infinite with a DualShock 4 just to do it.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah, I tried that out. Actually, I did it even worse. I did remote play Steam Link. So from my computer Steam Link to my Apple TV with a Apple SteelSeries Nimbus. So it was like I was using like 4 different companies' products to get there. It was Apple's branded SteelSeries Nimbus. It was the Apple TV with Steam Link. It was the PlayStation. It was something to do with PlayStation. I did something with Play. I don't know. It was like 4 companies spread across this, making that work. It was pretty hilarious.
That's awesome. I love it.
Long story short, it was weird. Did you know that you can actually Steam Link PS2 games through Steam if you add your PS2 emulator to Steam?
Did not know that.
So if you add
it as a non-Steam game?
Yep. You can, so I can actually put a PS2 disc in my computer because I have a disc reader on my computer and use the PS2 emulator through Steam to remote play Persona 3, Persona 4, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Any of those games will work directly from my disk drive. remote played to my phone.
That's
how
awesome.
hilarious is that?
Oh my
now,
God.
what have you used with that? I've got to ask.
PCSX2.
Well, like game wise, like what was your go-to testing that game? I don't even know where I would start
to test the. What do you mean, like putting in the disk drive?
No, yeah, I guess like in terms of like what was the first thing you tried on it?
Oh, I put in Persona 3 Fest just to see if it would run.
Yeah, you really got to push those systems to their max with those like 240p.
But the thing is you can actually use all the upscalers in PCSX2,
right?
And then it looks like you're playing HD Persona 3 Fest on your phone. It's pretty impressive. Anyways, that's a total sidetrack. The only other thing I've seen that was cool recently was AliExpress selling like straight up portable PS2s on Modern Vintage Gamer, and I'm like, that looks so much PS Vita. I've never seen anything that looks that much like a PS Vita that isn't. You know what I'm talking about? The portable PS2s on AliExpress?
No, I want
to. Are they like the really big chunky ones?
Yeah, but they're legit PS2 hardware inside.
Every time I see one of those for systems, I just look at them and I just go, it looks like someone broke a controller in half and shoved the guts on the inside.
That's exactly what they did, but they did a good job. Modern Vintage Gamer did a review on it, and so did one other person. Here's a good picture of it. I'm going to put it up on here. Check this thing out. That's the PS2 portable. And it is massive compared to the Vita. Like, that screen is like dwarfs the Vita. The Vita can fit inside of that screen, essentially.
That's incredible.
These are chunky boys. They're like Steam Deck size.
As someone who loves, especially like HD collection things, I've always found it like really funny. Of like, I never. It's weird. It's like I like.
This thing will play Ridge Racer.
It's like I like ports, but it is one of those weird ones of like emulation just does so little for me. That's the funny thing. Like
this is not emulation.
Well, no. I mean it in the sense of like, because there were people who were like, back even with the PSP and even the Vita, they were like, just give me blah, blah, blah games. Let me just play these games on there. Like even PSP games, even though there are so many like PSP games that play best on the Vita, like there are things where I'm like, I enjoy playing a PSP game more on a PSP. It's really weird. It makes no sense. It's like those things of like, it... like weird differences. Like even with something current that was a good port, I felt weird playing Mario 64 on a Switch. I'm like, I'm used to this on
I might sell Super Mario 3D All Stars.
I have bad news for you, sir. That is not going to fetch you much money.
That game
I don't care if it gets me money. I don't want it.
You should keep it at least for the novelty of how weird that is, because they're never gonna. Well, I say never. They might do that again this week with Zelda, but they'll probably like. They haven't done one of those literally since Mario All-Stars on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's fair. The biggest reason, though, is like I want the N64. If I'm going to play Super Mario 64, I want the N64 controller, and Nintendo never has them in stock.
They go fast. I don't know why people want that god-awful controller, but they're going fast.
Worst controller ever made. Worst controller
ever
made.
The Bluetooth version or just in general? The
N64?
In general, yeah.
No, I love the N64 controller.
I'll say this. I would recommend it's worth buying on the Nintendo Store only if it came with the glove that they sent everyone after Mario Party gave them blisters. It should come with that.
I think I had one of those back in the day.
Like when people rag on the Dreamcast controller, but they'll defend the 64 controller, I think they're psychopaths. Like there's
only one thing wrong with the Dreamcast controller. The only thing wrong with the Dreamcast is it's got the worst cord placement of all time.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah. Well, then it would be nice if it had a second analog stick. That would make it better slightly.
Yeah,
that's true. But because no game needed it, really, it was one of those things of like I wasn't playing
on
Shenmue.
The Dreamcast, yeah.
I wasn't playing Shenmue, being like, "Damn man, I need that right stick to really explore this vista."
Okay, I have one last question, then we'll end this thing.
Yeah.
If you could change one thing about the Vita, one thing and one thing only, what would it be?
L2 and R2 triggers.
Vita 1000 model with micro USB charging, like from the 2000.
Yeah, because the biggest thing with the L3R3 is no games have utilized it, so you'd only be creating a remote play feature.
You know what? Actually, I'll go actually one better. This is the real answer, I should say. Scrap my old answer. This is the more exciting real answer. Vita 2000, everything's the same, internal
OLED
memory
screen.
And all. OLED screen. If it was that thin, and had the OLED screen and the better battery and the micro USB. Because remember, the thing no one ever brings up with the Slims, it has internal memory.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would say that because like there are moments, even though I still have my OLED as my go-to, when I'm working with my other like limited editions, I'm like, God, this thing is so pretty, but the screen sucks.
I do like the 2000 form factor better. So yes, if it had an OLED, I would take that over.
I don't think
someone's got to mod that. I hope someone's done that, like ripped out the guts of that screen and just put an OLED in there. But that's probably destroys the battery.
I don't know. Listen, honestly, at the time, it was a pretty impressive LCD screen.
It was.
Like
when I shouldn't say the 2000 OLED. It's like it's saying it's the second worst blowjob you've ever gotten in your life. It's a great thing to have, but it's like when you know what you just had, it's like, listen, if you've never had the best blowjob ever, the second best will be just as good as you ever need. Although, speaking of things that suck, literally speaking of things that suck, the Steam Deck has one of the shittiest screens. That screen sucks.
That was something I just messaged Spencer about the other day. Like, this thing should have an OLED in it. Like, that was dumb.
You know they're gonna. You know that once they've got everyone's copy shipped out, as soon as they're all caught up and you can buy one anytime, hey guys, Steam Deck 2.
I don't know if it'll be that fast, but it'll be pretty quick.
No, I mean, listen, they're already. I think they're already losing money on them as it is, especially if you compare it to like comparable devices on the market. You know, Steam's taking the console perspective on it, where they're like, all right, we're going to sell this thing at probably a bit of a loss, but we're going to make it up on software sales. You know, think about how many more. I never bought games on Steam except for that Kyle Rittenhouse game that was that shooter. You know what I'm talking about?
What an interesting Steam library you must have. I'm sure the analytics on you must be they're just sending you right to the FBI. That's him right there.
Yeah, so that's the only game I bought just to support the dev.
What's in his Steam library? It looks like the Postal Collection, Duke Nukem, and the Kyle Rittenhausen game.
So, but the point is, now I'm buying Steam games. I never would have before because I bought their portable, their small little laptop that happens to have, controls on it.
Like, you want to talk about like the one thing that I think I can appreciate about Steam is they don't pull punches. They pretty much let anything go on that software. And up until the Switch, I would have said Nintendo would never let those kinds of games on there. But now I'm like, dude, they've got like freaking games I would never see on a Nintendo console.
You should check out the Japanese eShop. You think the Western one's wild? You should see what Japan's getting.
They got like some Panty Warrior game where you like.
Oh no, man! They're straight on just throwing boobs in Japan. The Japanese eShops just got full on boobs and butts out.
Love it, but don't worry, they're gonna blur out things that don't need to be blurred out.
Right. All right. Well, on that note, lay them high. No, pour one out for the Vita, guys.
So
my smudge screen.
I'm still sad that the Vita didn't, go further than it did because it's a really impressive console for what it is.
I know.
While you're doing the outro, Chris, I'm gonna put on the weirdest Vita collector's edition item I've ever owned. Sorry, this isn't the weirdest. I have one Vita item that is the weirdest. I don't think the box is anywhere near me. I have a Vita item that is literally.
Is that a P-Cube game?
Oh yeah, this is a P-Cube game. They're very unpopular right now.
Punch what? Punchline? Isn't that the one where like he sees like what is the premise?
If he sees this,
yeah, that's what it was.
If he sees a women's panties, this is the inside of the box. The apocalypse happens in the.
That's right. That's what it was. I was trying to remember what the premise. Like, it was a ridiculous premise.
Fun fact: this actually goes round circle. This is written by the guy who did the Zero Escape games.
Oh my god! And how many bloody noses does the character get?
Not enough. But
I watch a lot of anime, and I still don't get that trope. The bloody nose with.
You've just never really seen a good fresh pair of Asian drawn panties. They really they hit different than over here.
I guess so.
On that note, I think we've had a great cast tonight. So I appreciate you guys sticking it out with me and having a good time. So, as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Pigeon Spencer, everybody.
And make sure you guys subscribe to their channels. YouTube, go to search bar, PunchNpie, and Spencer Presley. And we will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.